Yeah. Holy crap. Welcome to the golden age. We are in a new era, unfortunately, I guess. Things have gone off a fucking cliff. Maybe I should turn up the lights. Hold on. This is killing me. This is just so muddy and dark. Let me kick the lights up real fast. I'll be right back. This is the pre-show. I think we can take a more casual approach to the live stream. I think the most like this, I not that I've seen any of Kai Cenat's streams, but some of his videos popped up. Oh yeah, TikTok was not banned. I guess is that what's going on? Trump can look like a hero. They're doing all this shit to make Trump look good. Well, the inauguration was comical. I didn't watch it live. I saw clips on TikTok. Probably like most people, like half of America. But having all the billionaire bros there instead of government people, I think tells you everything you need to know. The apps, these guys own all the apps. Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, even the TikTok guy was there. Okay. Hold on, I gotta deal with some personal. Okay, so we're live. Here we are. In Trump's America. Unfortunately, we're back. All over again. You know, despite our best efforts to live stream the pain away. I mean, the Democrats really didn't give us so much of a choice, right? That's what I would blame it on. I think what we all. The Democrats gave us kind of. Well, okay, and I mean this is complicated. There's just a lot to fucking talk about. David Lynch died. I'm not sure if that happened before or after I think before my last live stream, but we did David Lynch tribute night, Martin Luther King Day yesterday, and there was just so much going on. The Buckeyes won the fucking national championship, apparently. Go Bucks. For all my Ohio viewers, if there's any, I don't even know if I have. Does anybody from Ohio watch? That's the point of doing. I was thinking about this earlier today. This is one of the points of doing and the advantage of doing like a YouTube. Not that many people are really keyed into my YouTube, is it's a way to perform for everybody all over the country at once. I mean, having all these fucking right-wing influencers, quote unquote, live streamers, basically. Fucking Theo Vaughn is at the inauguration. It was just all the trashiest. Not that Theo Vaughn is trashy. Kid Rock performed. Have people seen the Billy Ray Cyrus fucking epic performance? I loved it. It was very Blue Velvet. That may have ended Billy Ray Cyrus's career, but all these celebrities are kind of coming out for Trump. Not like the first time. The first time it was just Toby Keith. Toby Keith was the lone celebrity with the balls, and maybe John Voight. John Voight was also at the inaugural. Whatever they're having these big rallies. I guess Elon Musk did the Hitler salute. We all saw it. It's crazy, and I don't know. There's just so much tomfoolery and fucking clownishness going on right now that it's hard to even keep track to talk about all of it, but we will. We'll talk about the fucking inauguration. The crypto, apparently Trump started some kind of fucking cryptocurrency like already to launch. Oh my God, I was watching the Channel 5 video of interviews with people at the Trump inauguration. It's scary what these people want to happen. They don't think there should be public schools. They're like, Trump's going to put $100 billion into fucking Bitcoin or something. There's going to be all these Bitcoin reserves and shit. So I don't know. It's the in-shitification, right? This is a new term going around, the in-shitification of just life. The rich get richer. That's the law of the land, and that's what's going to happen over the next X amount of years, depending on how long this lasts. Just I think crypto is just, if you want to have a future, if you can't beat them, join them. It's one of the few ways to make money, it seems like, actually. Well, the thing about crypto is it's like stock on steroids, where it's like you can make so much fucking money so fast. Like, I was watching these videos that were talking about, if you had invested X amount of dollars in Apple or whatever 30 years ago, it's like, yeah, you would have made a bunch of money, but it's like, if you would have invested $500,000, I think you would have made $6 million. But it's like, yeah, that's if you have $500,000 fucking dollars to invest, which who does? Like, let's say invest $1,000. That means you'd made 60 grand or something. Like, that's pretty good, but it's not necessarily going to change your life or anything. Not in any kind of permanent way. So it's like, to even participate in the stock market, I think I heard some statistic about 10% of the households own 87% of the stock. Like, most people do not own stock. They're not involved in the fucking stock market, which, like, that is entirely what the contingency of these fucking people's wealth is based on. And that's their idea of what the economy is. I mean, Elon Musk's entire importance is based on kind of overvalued stocks and shit and unrealized gains, which is how much wealth he has according to, like, how much fucking stock in his shitty companies he owns. Hold on just 1 second. Let me turn this heater off. This David Lynch kind of sound effect over here. Oh God, here I am. I'm a political expert. I'm talking out of my ass. I don't know. So I don't know. Not to ever, like, be positive about anything with Trump, but, like, they seem to embrace innovation, and, like, to be honest, they have a better like, the celebrities they had fucking Nelly perform at the inauguration. I mean, I don't like Kid Rock at all. They had they had Billy Ray Cyrus. He was fucking terrible. His fucking guitar wasn't working or something. It was like the ultimate nightmare. Like, imagine having something like that go wrong at, like, some small show in New York. Like, oh, your guitar doesn't. So he just is like, just take the fucking guitar. I'll just fucking sing it a cappella. And it's like the most cringe fucking thing. And he's doing this at the fucking inaugural, in front of millions of goddamn people. It's all over TikTok. And the way that TikTok has kind of thanked Trump, they've got this weird kind of thing where they are kind of overly grateful to Trump for they sent this fucking, it was like one of those Amber Alert texts. If you were on TikTok and you got back on Sunday, you got a text that was like, thanks President Trump for goddamn extending the TikTok ban. Which, I mean, to be honest, I just think that the people that run TikTok are smart and they don't want it to get banned. I think for now it's easy for him to unban it or whatever, because it hasn't actually affected him. He thinks that, like, it helped him out with, like, young people, and maybe it did. I wouldn't necessarily attribute that to TikTok per se. Although, I suppose it had its share of, like, Trump glorifying memes and shit after his assassination attempt and whatnot. But, to be honest, it just hasn't been used against him yet. That's the reason why he's sorta like, "Oh, yeah, we'll unban it. We don't see what," it's like, the reason why they wanted to ban it was because it created a lot of pro-Palestinian favor amongst young people, which worked against the Democrats, actually. because they weren't able to get Netanyahu to sign off on the fucking ceasefire because they didn't want to. But, you know, a lot of those fucking videos and a lot of the kind of anti-Zionist, a lot of that shit was coming from fucking TikTok videos. And so, you know, Trump was not really the president. I'm sure he wasn't even fucking paying attention to what was going on goddamn TikTok. He just thinks because he was on the Nelk twins or whatever the fuck that show is, or who's the other guy, Aiden Raw. You know, suddenly these guys are at the fucking inauguration. Fuck, you know, I don't. We just want to throw out the fucking institutions in this goddamn country. And just to some degree, you know, I think you have to like sort of embrace you know, not the way that Trump is gut renovating, you know, like the Democrats are bad at this shit. They're bad at TikTok. You know, they had Kamala falling out of a fucking coconut tree and they let him ban it. I mean, there's it's sort of a bipartisan issue in a certain way, the way that both Republicans and Democrats think it's a Chinese spy app, which you know, Trump, what he's trying to do is pressuring them to fucking sell it. He wants the United States own half, which is kind of absurd because we're not half the fucking global audience. I'm sure we're not half of their revenue base. So the idea that they're going to sell us half the fucking app is it's I guess it's a negotiation tactic. But the bullshit has already begun. The political theater started before they even, I mean, right? He was supposed to end the war in Ukraine in one day. He said he would end it in 24 hours. It's been 24 hours. What the fuck are you waiting for? You're too busy fucking dancing with the village people at your goddamn, with your fucking sword. He's got a sword and he's dancing with the village people. The village people are there. Snoop Dogg is there. Celebrities are kind of embracing it in a way that they didn't before, in a way that's fucked up and weird. Um, but the Democrats have this weird, there is this kind of weird artificial front with Tom Hanks and Springsteen and Obama and the neoliberals and Bush and this whole kind of like celebrity industrial complex that is sort of burning to the ground, or at least, you know, it's Hollywood is it's things like TikTok, right? I think this is one of the reasons, another reason why the right wing kind of is embracing it, or Trump is, I guess, is they can use it to beat Hollywood over the head with, is like these influencers are kind of the new celebrities and they're subverting and they're kind of pulling the foundation out. I mean, Hollywood sold itself out with these terrible fucking movies, but I think the celebrities are kind of panicking and going, wait a minute, we can't just tell people what to do. Like George Clooney can't just fucking be on some fucking telethon and like all of a sudden. And in fact, people like the celebrities like Mel Gibson and shit and John Voight. Trump is going to have some kind of fucking uh ambassadors to Hollywood. It's like Stallone, John Voight, Mel Gibson, or like his right wing fucking shithead. It's like these guys have been in Hollywood and been very powerful since the fucking 80s, since the 70s. You know what I mean? It's like the idea that they're not establishment is fucking insane. John Voight was in Midnight Cowboy in the fucking 60s, for Christ's sake. The dude has been famous for almost 60 fucking years. And he's been right wing the whole fucking time. And he's a great actor, unfortunately. Been on a huge John Voight kick recently because he's such a fucking psycho. You got to see Karate Dog. John Voight doesn't, you know, he doesn't discriminate. He'll be in any fucking piece of shit. He's in Baby Geniuses 2. He's not even in the first Baby Geniuses. He's in the sequel to Baby Geniuses. That's how big of a whore John Voight is. He'll be in any goddamn thing. And God bless him, he's in Megalopolis. Like I mean, you got to see Runaway Train. He's one of our finest nutcase. I love nutcase actors. What can I say? I don't know. I like it when they push it. Maybe that's Otra. Maybe that was the last generation. That was what those guys did. They went over the top. I want to talk about Jack Lemmon. Been watching all these Jack Lemmon. We watched The Apartment. If you've never seen The Apartment, I mean, it's a movie I watched a lot when I was younger because it's about New York. So it was a way for me to sort of like look at New York and wander, before Google Maps or whatever. It was like you watch movies about the place to sort of like, wow, that's what it's like in New York. Um, and The Apartment just always struck me as just a very sad movie. It's very sad. I mean, it's full of characters trying to kill themselves and people in love with people that don't love them back. And it's just kind of but I don't know. That's a New York story and it ends well. It's kind of a good winter movie, I guess, in a way, even though it's not necessarily explicitly winter in the movie. It feels kind of like the movie you're just going through an emotional winter where it's like the whole movie's just kind of destitute. But they do well, not to spoil it or anything, but um, I was just trying to think about what The Apartment is really about because it's like there's the photography, I would say, is one of the things that makes it hold up. It's just such a great looking movie. That office he works in the kind of, the, perspective lines of the kind of lights and shit, the fluorescent lights, and the way it's sort of like that King Vidor movie, The Crowd, I think is what he kind of, it was sort of like Billy Wilder probably doing the 20s or something. If you read like Hart Crane and stuff, it's like that was the beginning of the New York kind of office. That's why New York sort of became this mid skyscrapers. It's like they needed warehouses full of people working in fucking offices with card catalogs and shit like that. It's like now that's all in your fucking phone and shit. But the way, he works for this insurance company. Insurance, I think, is one of the issues of the modern day. I mean, look at this fire insurance in fucking California. And I think it's somebody was saying their property taxes and their insurance for their house costs more than their fucking mortgage. It's like more than the actual house is like the insurance and all that shit. Car insurance, health insurance, of course, right? Luigi, how we're all getting fucked by the insurance companies. We're just warming up here, people, okay? It's been a few days. It takes about 45 minutes. But it's literally like what? It's 12 degrees outside or something. So it's like we might be live streaming a lot in the next few days. I'm not sure. It might be an extended 16 degrees with a low of 9. It's going to go down to 9 degrees. It's going to go down to single digits, everybody. Stay warm out there, campers, neighbors. Hi, neighbor. You want to go for a joyride? Stay safe and warm. Watching Scenes from a Life live stream. Have people been checking out one of the, I don't know if people have really noticed, but over the past couple weeks, we've really jumped into the 21st century. We've been live streaming the open mic, which I haven't done ever until the last couple weeks. I think it's kind of exciting. So if you want to watch last night's open mic, it's in the live streams of Scenes from a Life. And it's the whole thing. It's 4.5 hours. The David Lynch, Martin Luther King, Bob Euchre, Age of Aquarius, anti-inauguration, TikTok ban, unban, Buckeye National Championship tribute show. We won the fucking national championship, everybody. Hell yeah, we're celebrating. As an alumni of the Ohio State University, I'm glad they're paying their fucking players, and we're kicking it. We beat Notre Dame. That's pretty cool. That's a pretty classic. I remember when I was in 5th grade, Ohio State played Notre Dame at the Horseshoe. That was like the first time they'd played in like decades. I had a little commemorative football I got at Kroger with Ohio State versus Notre Dame. All the brainwashing bullshit of college sports. So there was a lot going on yesterday. Whatever you're into, politics, live streaming, David Lynch tributes, National College Athletic Association football, astrology. It was all going on yesterday. Fucking inauguration, for Christ's sake. I remember the last time Trump got inaugurated, I was working at Agenda in Midtown on 43rd Street. I was at work in an office building like the fucking apartment. And I watched it live, This American Carnage. And then Trump proceeded to kill 1 million people. So let's reelect this guy, definitely. Let's make him the first guy since Grover Cleveland or whatever to get elected non-consecutively. The guy who tried to overthrow the government. I mean, I do think that it was like definitely symbolic. It was some kind of satanic ritual that they did it in the Capitol Rotunda 4 years after January 6th. He was trying to make a fucking point. They're not going to miss this time. This time they're going to actually succeed when they do January 6th part 2. They're going to know what to do, these fucking psychos. They've been emboldened. All the Trump people have been emboldened in a fucking crazy way. And seeing all these fucking, the idiocracy formulate before our very eyes in the Capitol Rotunda with fucking all the biggest douchebags in existence. Bezos, fucking Sleezos, Jeff Sleezos, and his little side piece or whatever he's got going on, hoeing it up, disgracing our fucking national rituals. God damn it. Where's Tom Hanks when you need him? The best and the brightest. We've got these scumbags in the Capitol. Zuckerberg on full fucking hype beast broccoli hair mode. You're still a fucking tool bag. We still hate you, assholes. We hate all of you. You're lame. Please get out of our lives. We want you to go away. They're taking over. That's what they're signaling. This is their move. They're going to get rid of the government. They're going to replace it with tech. Tech is going to do everything the government does now. They want us to be on our fucking phone screens literally all the time. And TikTok is better than them. They realize that. They realize TikTok is better at like kidnapping your attention. I mean, I had earlier today, my phone battery died and I had an iPad here. So I was like, then I started I opened the TikTok app on the iPad and I'm like, no, this has to stop. I have to, my phone battery died from watching it. So that's a sign to take a break. There's no time for daydreaming, right? That's what David Lynch said. You got to make time for daydreaming and goddamn meditation. Think about how hard it is to meditate twice a day for 20 minutes. That's not easy to make that time and to actually center and focus. David Lynch said he meditated with Roy Orbison. He was there in the 80s when Roy Orbison was like re-recording Candy Colored Clown. And he said he asked the studio people for a private room to meditate in. And then Roy Orbison found out they were going to meditate. And he said, "Can I join you?" So Roy Orbison and his wife meditated with David Lynch. How amazing is that? So we better get meditating. We better start meditating real fucking fast. It's not work. I mean, with the Trump thing, there's a lot of bad shit. Who the fuck knows how bad it's going to be? But there's also ways that it is moving us into the future in ways that, like, for whether we like it or not, like the Democrats are fucking behind. Like the fact that they tapped in, even though the right wing has very carefully curated the manosphere in this right wing kind of masculine pipeline, this incel pipeline. It's very deliberate, and there's a lot of resources that get put into this to make it seem cool to be fucking Republican. That doesn't, it's not a bad technique. Left wing should be in these spaces. Left wing should be on fucking YouTube. They should be live streaming their fucking shit. They should be yapping and letting it all hang out and trying to make the left wing cool again. To steal a phrase, to paraphrase, make the left wing cool again. We are fucking cool. I don't know. I guess you can't just say that. You have to actually be cool. They don't have, they don't have the fucking good art and shit. They have Mel Gibson. And that's fine. Good for him. Good for Mel Gibson and Stallone and all of that dog shit. Karate Dog 2, that was probably a right wing. But The Apartment seems like it's kind of about like human numbers, quantifying numbers, crunching all these people into buildings, into offices, onto spreadsheets, keeping track of, Baxter has all these actuary kind of figures. Though there's this many people that live this long and blah, 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 we can tabulate. But it's also about the executive class and how the underclass gets fucked. I mean, Jack Lemmon isn't literally getting fucked, but he's getting like cucked in a weird way. Like he's a people pleaser. He's letting all his bosses use his apartment in this kind of informal, he's like a pimp almost. But he suffers for it. He gets driven out of his apartment into the cold, into the rain. He gets sick. And, but it's his way of getting into the executive class. He's able to join Sheldrake and the other guys who can fuck around, who have keys to the executive washroom, the Don Drapers. I guess it's sort of like Mad Men in that it's like a way of becoming a WASP, or it's social mobility. Maybe it's a way of becoming like, I don't know, old money or something. It's a class thing. Baxter is, just there's more of him. He's number 729 or whatever. There's thousands of him. And so by letting these sleazeballs use his apartment to have sex with their mistresses, their guma, that's his way of, in New York, you have to use any fucking competitive advantage you can get. And everybody is in human trap. Everybody's trying to get laid. Everybody's got some scheme about how they're trying to screw somebody, and they're all trying to find some hot young person or whatever the fuck. Everybody is trying to fucking, even look at Trump. He pays off fucking porn stars and shit while his wife is pregnant. Or who was that guy? We were watching the Abel Ferrara movie about that guy who was in the IMF. When I first moved to New York, I forget the guy's name, Dominic something. He got busted because he sexually assault the maid or something? There's a movie about it with Gerard Depardieu. And it's basically just about how the upper class, the IMF, this guy's like the chair of the International Monetary Fund. They just that's sort of what Eyes Wide Shut is about. We're just like sexual playthings to the upper classes. We are just like the fucking, and in New York, there's a lot of fucking rich people, and there's a lot of good-looking people who come here to try to make it or whatever. And New York is just like this big banquet. It's all the best food. It's the best concerts, best art, whatever the fuck you're into. Broadway. You get and that includes whatever kind of sex fucking thing. It's all tourism. It's sex tourism. And it's just using people. I don't know. Is that the point of The Apartment? It's about modernity. His apartment's pretty fucking nice, though. It's a lot like the Slooge. It's basically that same kind of brownstone layout where it's like the kind of stairs that round up with the scoop in the wall. And then there's like an L-shaped bedroom and a back bedroom with the washroom. If you've been in one of those kind of brownstones, they're all kind of have the same floor plan. But Jack Lemmon has kind of an interesting quality as a movie star. I don't know who is comparable to that today. He kind of represents a post-war version of masculinity. I think he was in the Navy or something. He went to Harvard. But he started out in New York. He started out, I guess he was a piano player in on 2nd Avenue in the East Village. And an MC. And he got parts on Broadway and then sort of worked his way up through he's kind of got a Henry Fonda quality. He's definitely, and especially in the apartment, there's like a huge Chaplin thing. He's got kind of a physical comedy, like almost like Dick Van Dyke, or almost like Jerry. I mean, he doesn't go as extreme. You know who he actually really kind of reminded me of in a weird way was Jim Carrey. When I was because we watched a bunch of Jack Lemmon. We watched The Out of Towners. We watched The Odd Couple 2 because he's in Glengarry. He's the fucking machine. So you have Sheldrake and Baxter in the apartment, and then you have the machine. So, Lemmon has this kind of history of embodying that kind of greatest generation, I don't know, gold wristwatch thing where it's like you work at a fucking place for 40 years and then you get a handshake at the end in your retirement. This is one thing about I did want to talk about with our generation and the younger generations and sort of frustration about being able to buy a house and this and that is like there also was a huge backlash. People today claim that they want like a job or they want like a solid income and this and that. And I understand that because the economic system that we're in. But when I was younger, there was definitely a lot of sentiment like you didn't want to get trapped in a career for 40 years and you didn't want to work in a fucking office for 40 years like Baxter in the apartment. You didn't want that kind of humdrum, boring uh sameness, that was like soul crushing. And so the gig economy was kind of a ploy. It was a lie, but the original idea sort of was like, well, you're your own boss and you make your own schedule and you can work when you want to work. And, there's a little bit more variety to being out of the office, to being a fucking Uber driver, driving your own car. Then, okay, I'm just the man in the gray flannel suit or whatever, clocking in like I'm fucking human cattle. And New York being a city that kind of boomed when in-person work and the office was kind of like a human computer. That's what I see when I see the apartment. I see it's almost like those shots in Modern Times of with the people superimposed over the cattle. This is a Film Bro podcast, by the way. And I think it sort of has an influence on David Lynch, that era of America and that kind of look. Obviously Mad Men, but that kind of, Dale Cooper kind of has this Eisenhower Kennedy era. There's kind of a strong Kennedy vibe in David Lynch, where it's like you still kind of believed in the government. And then the JFK assassination kind of has all the elements of like Lynchian. It's got glamour and style and these kind of shining guys in suits, feds, but it's this unsolvable mystery. Nobody knows what the fuck happened. It happened in plain sight. All these people fucking saw it. And yet it still defies explanation. Nobody knows. And, Marilyn Monroe and Jackie O and all that stuff feels very Twin Peaks. And transcendental meditation and RIP to a real one. David Lynch will be paying tribute on and on. I mean, he will stay with us. He's one of the giants of world cinema. Now he's an immortal. He belongs to eternity now. He belongs to the ages. Right? That's what Ben Jonson said after Shakespeare died. He belongs to the ages now. That's how we feel about fucking David Lynch. Did somebody unlike my fucking stream? I had 3 likes, now I only have 2 likes. Oh, it's so pathetic, groveling for likes. It's not about the fucking likes. It's not about the engagement. We don't give a damn. It's about the truth. It's about speaking the soul truth, the truth beyond the truth. Tibet, going to the Tibet of that was fucking scene in Twin Peaks. Remember where he pulls the fucking map down of Tibet? Lynch is in the Bardo now. I think that's the weird thing about Twin Peaks that everybody kind of gets is it kind of shows you the between worlds. It shows you the Red Room. It shows you the Black Lodge. It shows you the dream world. It shows you the nightmare world. It shows you these kind of states of the soul between living and death, between after you die, before you're reborn. Where do you go? You go, the Red Room is kind of as convincing a version of that. Lynch is able to get to all the kind of parts of consciousness. Um, Abstraction. That's something he talks about. He likes film because it's a narrative, and there's kind of figurative, linear, whatever, what have you, story, but it accommodates abstraction, right? He talks about how it accommodates a lot of abstraction. I think that's one of the things that makes his stuff so powerful to so many people. Is there's passages in it that are sort of inexplicable, or they're more about psychology, trauma, and just kind of showing those states. Leland Palmer dancing, by himself with no partner, just kind of spiraling. He's crashing out like Billy Ray Cyrus. And that's very real. We've all been there. The fugue state, the heightened kind of operatic emotional turmoil of just this thing called life, getting from one shore to the other of fucking being. And David Lynch has it all: the simple pleasures, the coffee, the cherry pie, the flowers, the blue skies, the beautiful music, the moments of romance. But I don't know. There's also something that's like he he gets it just right, and he doesn't give you like any more. He gives you like just the right amount, and he kind of almost like withholds, to be honest. Like it's not My Dinner with Andre where he's like overdoing it with like his fucking social theories or something. There was an interesting thing Laura Dern was saying about, and this was one of the initial things I think that really switched a hit a switch in my brain, was like she was talking about he has bits of his scripts that are like poetry to him, parts of dialogue, or there's certain parts of his, and she said he'll fight for those parts, like that. Those are the parts of his movies that are like the things that he really is do or die on. And I would say, like, a lot of his dialogue, it does have this heightened, stylized. His dialogue, I would say, is as stylized as fucking David Mamet's is, or Tarantino's, for that matter. There are certain things that are immediately, there's kind of a campiness, or like I don't know, just kind of a like old fashioned American, uh, not necessarily corny, but like homespun. We had a great performer last night, Harper Bazaar, who roasted everybody for being David Lynch's John Water for straight people, is what Harper Bazaar said, which totally makes sense. I think that's totally true. I thought that was very insightful because they're kind of contemporaries. There's that great picture of David Lynch and John Waters shaking hands in front of Big Boy. And they kind of tapped into certain, disturbing undercurrents in like suburbia, the normal facade of America, and the kind of like campiness of that, the howdy doodiness, the 50s, and the kind of undercurrents beneath that. But also queerness and strangeness. I mean, John Waters is literally queer, so his cinema has a different kind of humor. It's keyed differently. Um, it's more, I don't know, like a 60s beach bingo musical. Divine is in it, so it's got drag culture. I mean, David Lynch has that. I don't know, maybe his movies are hetero. Um, uh, not I don't necessarily think that that's what people, like, celebrate. I mean, I think there is a strangeness and there is sort of like an alternativeness that people key into, and there is a tolerance, right? I mean, Denise on Twin Peaks, David Duchovny is sort of a trans character, and David Lynch goes out of his way to defend that character and to accept that character. Which and I think for the late '80s, early '90s for Twin Peaks, that's pretty progressive. It was a pretty progressive show, I would say, representationally. And it's not necessarily I wouldn't say it's like conservative, really. Even though there is kind of a throwback style to some of he's kind of appropriating '50s glamour or a little bit pre-hippie. But I think he's also just using aspects of art that he likes. Um but yeah, guilty as charged, I guess. Um with the yeah, I think we struck a nice balance yesterday. I thought we had a nice we really covered a lot and people really brought special stuff. This one girl sang the fucking song from Eraserhead. That was pretty amazing. Ashley did new poems. Philip Clowncest was incredible. Martin Luther King. There was a lot of good Martin Luther King uh, tributes and people talking, and paying homage to Martin Luther King. Fucking Alberco did this incredible fucking song. I encourage people to go back and watch it if you can, because it was a really good show. It was cohesive. That's kind of my goal. The theme. David Lynch does mean a lot to a lot of people, and so this is a big fucking deal. And there was a big response. I mean, we do themes pretty regularly, but people don't usually commit to the theme that hard. But this one I could tell resonated with people, and they wanted to pay tribute and to just share. The guy's got a lot of, the music, the Twin Peaks fucking music is so fucking kind of unique. I mean, what sounds like that? And it's so blissful and it's almost like therapeutic. And I think that's TM. I do think that, like, if you look at the artists that do TM, one of the things David Lynch says is like his intuition is maybe the most important human tool. I think that is super interesting and telling and true. And I think you can see that in his work as he gets intuition about stuff. He'll just find images that have power. He'll get a look or something will be right. Like the fucking story about how they found Bob or whatever the guy's name is on Twin Peaks is crazy. About how they were just shooting the scene and he was accidentally in the mirror in one of the shots. Just completely he was a fucking crew member. And David Lynch was like, that's the fucking, killer or whatever. And he just like embraced that happened. And it's one of the things that makes the show. Everything in David Lynch is like that. It's like he found something that worked. Either the shot, the set, he built the fucking furniture himself. He built the special effects. He built the little fucking alien guy or whatever. I mean, Blue Velvet, that fucking set when they're playing Honky Tonk and they're in Dean Stockwell singing fucking Roy Orbison. The set, it looks like a Raymond Pettibon fucking drawing. Like, I can definitely see Raymond Pettibon influence. You see a lot of David Lynch influence in like Black Flag stuff, Henry Rollins. Um, and that the intensity of the kind of violence of those kind of destitute male, toxic male, that gang with Jack Nance and all those kind of ne'er do wells. Frank Booth's. If they're hanging out with Frank Booth, they got to be bad news. They got to be shady bad guys. We're going for a joyride, Jeffrey. What kind of beer do you like? I don't know. We could talk about David Lynch. You could do a whole fucking endless podcast just about David Lynch because it's all fucking. I mean, The Elephant Man is a totally. I mean, how fucking crazy is it that Mel Brooks produced The Elephant Man? Like, how it's such a weird detail in David Lynch's life that, like, Mel Brooks hired him to direct because Mel Brooks is obviously like a fucking wizard, intuitive genius to understand that like this guy was just special. He had some kind of X factor he was going to bring to it. And he worked hard to get shit right, I think. I watched Dune for the first time, the David Lynch Dune movie. I think I'd seen it when I was a kid. My God. It's wild. It's kind of boring. You can tell that they were kind of trying to do a Star Wars ripoff, but the design of it is like unbelievable. All the character design, and there's some crazy fucking dramatic moments. There's some dramatic storytelling in it. So it's sort of a weird precursor to Blue Velvet in a way. But you see the guy's work evolve, like Inland Empire and fucking Mulholland Drive are really not like Blue Velvet, actually. They're much more kind of ambient. They're much more kind of like vibe. Um, they're more like art installations. Blue Velvet's still kind of a Hollywood movie. We watched this interesting show. Well, first we watched he did this show called Hotel Room, which is on YouTube, but I do encourage people to check it out if you have the time. He directed 2 of the episodes, one of which has Crispin Glover. So, the David Lynch Crispin Glover collab. I think Crispin Glover might be in Wild at Heart, or he's in some fucking David Lynch movie. And then the other one is David Lynch and Harry Dean Stanton. But the premise of the show is it's one hotel room, but it's different eras. So like one episode takes place in like the 30s with Harry Dean Stanton. One of them is like in the 60s with or I don't know. It's just different eras, right? But the idea is it's the same fucking hotel room. So it's kind of an I mean, it didn't last long. It's only 3 episodes. But maybe that's all it needed to be. And then so we started watching this fucking movie because we were on a little bit of a Walter Matthau. Watching Jack Lemmon, you get tangled up with Walter Matthau. Stay tuned for my complete Odd Couple 2 review. I know people are dying to hear my opinion on The Odd Couple 2, the 1997. I guess it was the second to last movie Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau did. But stay tuned. I'll be reviewing that shortly. We watched this movie Plaza Suite. Well, we didn't actually watch the whole movie. We only watched like the first half. But it's basically the same fucking concept as this hotel room show, where it's like it's one hotel. Well, I don't know if it's all the same room, but it's all the Plaza Hotel. And I guess the idea is Walter Matthau plays 3 different characters in 3 different stories, but he's got 3 different leading ladies. And I guess he's probably cheating on his wife in all of them. That's the story in every movie from like 1950 to 2000. Some guy's trying to cheat on his wife. That's the plot. So in this movie, Walter Matthau's trying to cheat on his wife, and I think is Lee Grant in it. I think Lee Grant is one of the all-time movie stars. She's still alive. She was the one. It was in my poem. Lee Grant was one of the people that broke news of David Lynch's death on Twitter. Which, I mean, Lee Grant, if you don't know Lee Grant, that's a fucking movie star right there. That's why I included her in the poem. She's exactly somebody you would picture in a David Lynch movie. Just very chic. What the hell was I just saying about it? Plaza Suite or whatever the fuck it was. That what it's called? Plaza Suite? Um, well, just like okay, so it's a fucking Neil Simon script. One of the things I did want to talk about when people talk about New York City filmmakers, they talk about Woody Allen, obviously, Spike Lee, Scorsese, obviously, people that make, they kind of have told the story of New York and kind of put their print on the world through telling kind of New York stories. And if you want to learn about New York or you want to see New York, it's like, oh, you watch Woody Allen, you watch Scorsese, you watch Spike Lee, you watch Coppola's a little bit in there, maybe. Who else? But somebody who doesn't get talked about, who actually it's kind of weird how much it's part of his subject matter is Neil Simon. And I know Neil Simon is not a director, but his voice is very identifiable. And all of these fucking movies, I mean, it's like Neil Simon wrote a goddamn play every fucking year, just like Woody Allen, and a lot of them were made into fucking movies. Uh, Chapter 2, you got to see Prisoner of Second Avenue with Jack Lemmon. Great movie. Great New York movie. And it's very Neil Simon-y. There is a very distinct Neil Simon thing. But I think Neil Simon gets kind of a bum rap, okay? I know he's kind of just like a comedy, maybe melodrama at best. He's not writing fucking Hamlet but I don't know. Like, I think he's kind of getting undersold a little bit. His movies always have life or death kind of shit. There is, I mean, The Out of Towners really is like a psychological, it's like a fucking Beckett play, the way it's stylized. It's just this nightmare, everything that could fucking go wrong. And so it's emblematic of a certain kind of zone. That movie is really what it's like being from Ohio. If you want to know what it's like to be born and raised in Ohio, all you have to do is watch The Out of Towners, because that is exactly what your luck. That's just it's like there's all these Indian burial mounds in Ohio. There's all these serpent mounds and fucking Mound Street, a mile from my house, there's a fucking Indian burial mound. It's like it's a bad luck. It's Twin Peaks, right? It's like the reason why Twin Peaks is so fucked up is because it's white people stolen land. They killed a bunch of native people and they built a fucking casino and a diner and the Black Lodge. And, all of the kind of powers that be in Twin Peaks are these kind of like white settlers, in a way, except the Indian chief, the guy in the police force is a native person, right? He's got intuition. He's got spirit. He's trying to do justice. I think David Lynch wants justice to be served. He wants evil to kind of have to he is Gordon Cooper, or he is Dale Cooper. He really wants to find out who killed Laura Palmer, because it is like this horrible thing. This woman was victimized, and he wants to do the right thing. And Neil Simon, I'm not really sure. Are there dream sequences in The Odd Couple or the Sunshine Boys? We haven't watched the Sunshine Boys yet, but I mean, The Odd Couple, bam, that's a New York movie. I think I was in 7th grade. One of the first nights where I really felt like a serious kind of pretentious person. Turner Classic Movies one night, they showed a bunch of Billy Wilder, Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau. They showed Fortune Cookie, which takes place in Ohio. It's about Cleveland, actually. Jack Lemmon plays a fucking cameraman for the Cleveland Browns back when they were actually good, when fucking before the Super Bowl existed. And Jim Brown was on the fucking Cleveland Browns. They made a movie about it called Fortune Cookie. I think it's the first Walter Matthau, Jack Lemmon movie. And then, of course, The Odd Couple. So there was one night all these movies were on Turner Classic, Fortune Cookie, The Odd Couple, and I felt so fucking fancy. I felt like, wow, I'm like watching serious fucking cinema. I'm watching The Odd Couple, written by Neil Simon. This is like a great film. I've heard of this film. They do the play, like every high school, every fucking community theater in the fucking universe. They're doing The Odd Couple like in Bali. They're doing The Odd Couple in Fiji right now. I guarantee it. I guarantee you they're doing a production. Or maybe it's dead now. There's something about The Odd Couple that's just like universal. Slob, neat guy. It's like it's that simple. Gambler, kind of bon vivant, and prude. It's like it's just a formula that works. And Neil Simon discovered it. Tony Randall and Jack Klugman. I mean, come on. That story, they're doing The Odd Couple in fucking Madagascar right now. They do a female Odd Couple, right? There's an entire play. There's like different fucking versions of The Odd Couple. Yeah, so Jack Lemmon, I don't know, he's kind of an interesting movie star where it's like he's very nervous. He's kind of this agitated ball of energy. He's got kind of a Carson physicality, his kind of like shape. He's kind of tall and lean-ish. And the way he kind of his posture, he's very, I don't know if that's a Navy thing, but I don't know. He kind of represents, the peak of American civilization. I think it's fat. He's in all these O'Neill. He's in Long Day's Journey. There's a version of that on YouTube with Jack Lemmon. So he's got this commitment to theater. And, I think as having a life as like the American actor, he's not like one of these post Brando guys where it's all about, these crazy characters. He's kind of an everyman. Like I said, it's more about like his physical kind of comedy, almost like Jerry Lewis or Johnny Carson or Jim Carrey seems to me the modern where he's likable, he portrays kind of good people, but he brings kind of physical comedy to everything. He doesn't overdo it, but it's like it's there. It's one of the things that people like about him, which is kind of weird, It's like Jack Lemmon it's a light comedy thing. He's not totally a comedian. He's kind of a serious actor. He wins Oscars and shit. He can be in fucking Days of Wine and Roses or something. Or Glengarry. He can do The Machine. We pitch those cocksuckers Baywater. He can do that, and he can do, Shirley MacLaine, Statistics Wise or whatever. Cookie Wise. Shut Up and Deal. We started to watch Irma La Douce. It seemed kind of good, actually. I would watch Irma La Douce. It's a color, it's in color. So it'd be interesting to see what that same team, Billy Wilder, Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, did in color. You can't always trust the critics. Sometimes you really have to watch every fucking movie somebody did to really give it a fair shake. A lot of things that get panned, you can, it's kind of interesting to see. It's interesting to see why an actor did it, or it's maybe something they wanted to express. Maybe it's something that's more personal. Just because something is popular, or I mean, look at the IMDb 250 for Christ's sake. It's like everything is Christopher Nolan, The Godfather, Lord of the Rings, 12 Angry Men, which I haven't seen, is very high. Speaking of New York filmmakers, Sidney Lumet. But Neil Simon is somebody that I think he really covers a lot of New York life. I mean, The Out-of-Towners is such a New York. I mean, the transit strike and the garbage piled and Central Park, and there's jokes that they wouldn't make. We watched the remake. Ashley wanted to watch the remake of The Out-of-Towners, which I don't think Neil Simon had anything to do with. And it was kind of shitty. It removed the thing. The thing that's interesting about The Out-of-Towners is it's a nightmare. I mean, literally, that's what makes it like a state of mind. That's what elevates it to like it's like you have certain experiences. It's like, oh my god, that's like being in the out of towners, where it's just like every fucking thing goes wrong. It's kind of like planes, trains, and automobiles. It's kind of the same movie, actually. Most of the out of towners doesn't, the first third of the out of towners takes place in fucking Boston. They don't even get to New York till a third of the way through the fucking movie, but because it's just they have such a travel headache being from Ohio, trying to get to the city. You just get fucking spit out. He thinks he's going to the Four Seasons. And so Jack Lemmon is kind of the perfect guy to play this nervous, annoyed, kind of tightly strung. But he kind of represents, once again, the kind of executive class, white collar worker. He looks like he could be an insurance guy. He's a family guy, family man. He is the beneficiary of the post-war kind of boom. He's probably got 2 fucking houses. He's probably got a boat. He can take his wife to the Four Seasons. And she doesn't have a job. The Steve Martin, I don't know what the fucking point of that movie was. Steve Martin, he was like a pioneer of the remake bullshit. He made a lot of terrible remakes. When he remade Pink Panther, or what was that one, Cheaper by the Dozen? Any movie where Steve Martin plays like a dad or like a family, I don't buy it at all. He just doesn't. He's so unconvincing. Anytime Steve Martin says, "Babe, hey babe," it's like I don't believe it. I'm not saying Steve Martin is gay. I think he's just kind of like asexual or something. He's married to his career. He's on the spectrum. Not that that's a bad thing. We're not, Steve Martin can be whatever he wants to be, okay? We accept Steve Martin, except in these dad roles. It's like kind of, well, good for him, but it's like, Jesus Christ. When they were making those Cheaper by the Dozen movies, I'm like, what is this about? You're going to remake Pink Panther? It's like, you're not going to do it better than fucking Peter Sellers, for Christ's sake. Like, people still watch those fucking movies. But apparently he needed to buy some more fucking Jasper Johns paintings or something. Steve Martin needed some new fucking Rauschenbergs. He needed to buy a fucking Jeff Koons. I wonder if Steve Martin has a Jeff Koons. I think he has some hoppers. I think Steve Martin actually has really good taste in art, which is not a surprise. I mean, he was friends with Peter Sheldahl, for Christ's sake. Steve Martin is like David Lynch, where it's like he is almost like art. His persona, Steve Martin is like this kind of prairie Americana or something. He's like surreal Texas. I think he's from Texas. David Lynch is from Montana. They're from the Big Sky. And I don't know, the surrealism of the West. What goes on out there. But David Lynch was also kind of spent formative time in Philadelphia. I'm just meandering. Nobody likes any of this. This is what I do. I mean, this is like AM radio. I'm just kind of summarizing. This is a ticker tape of the news events of the day. Okay, maybe I'm not, I'm not talking about the Nazi salute. Should we talk about that? The Sieg Heil that Elon Musk did. What the fuck was that? The dog whistles are getting louder and louder, aren't they? I don't know. Fuck these guys. We will be fighting them on the live stream and in person for this next 4 years. This is Radio Free Midwood, goddammit. And we're using our First Amendment rights. Thanks for keeping free speech alive, assholes. Elon and well, apparently he reinstated all the fucking neo-Nazis on Twitter. That was part of the reason why he bought it. and got rid of the so-called censorship. And I mean, this is sort of what Zuckerberg is doing as well, getting rid of the fact checking. So Trump, I think he just signed some kind of executive order. Not that these fucking executive orders mean anything, at least not initially. But he signed an executive order, right? There are only two genders, making it a law, supposedly, in his fantasy fucking world of him being the king dictator. I gotta get my microplastics. I mean, Jesus Christ. You couldn't put a non-binary option. I guess that's the whole point of this fucking, but it is fucked up to see this kind of bullshit go in. This is the first thing they want to do, piss people off, dehumanize people, hate. These people are just hateful people. They're intolerant. I mean, I get why people are freaking out about the Elon Musk Zeke Heil thing. It is a worrying gesture, but at the same time, I think it's kind of what the Democrats always do and the left always does, is like they're kind of taking the bait with the media about the most extreme story is like these guys are Hitler, right? Not that they aren't Hitler, but it's like if you press that button every fucking time, it wore out a long fucking time ago, right? Now Snoop Dogg is at the fucking inauguration, and Nelly and fucking Soulja Boy. And goddamn, the fucking CEO of TikTok is saying, thanks, Trump. Thanks, Hitler. It's just like fucking Citizen Kane, where Citizen Kane is buddies with Hitler. Often support, then denounce. I mean, these assholes want to make money. They want to deregulate. That's all they fucking care about. For the fucking shareholders, for the people who are already rich. But it's just like he's an awkward guy. He may have been doing a fucking Nazi salute, but it's also just like when you put things in a certain context or whatever, it's just like I don't know. They've tried to fucking pitch this thing so many times, and it's like it's not gonna work. The people who voted for him don't care. They were less, completely divided on racial lines than they were before. It was more people who are not white who voted for him, supposedly. And so, like, the idea that they're Nazis, it's just like it doesn't work. Like, and the people that voted for him are I mean, they're not paying attention to everything, but like I think they are trusting their intuition or something, and they do feel like he did things for them. He fought for them, or things were better for them, or they could see even with this fucking TikTok thing, it's like people are looking at it like, oh, Trump is responsible for undoing this ban. Trump is responsible for the ceasefire. They're not giving Biden credit for that shit. Oh man, what the fuck? And it's like Trump was the one who fucking initiated the TikTok ban. He was the one who banned it in the first place. He knows that it looks good for him politically and he can ride this wave because it's a popular fucking app. All he has to do is see the fucking polls. It hasn't been used against him yet. You know, once he starts to do some shady shit, if he does, once he starts some fucking war somewhere, or some kind of bombs go off somewhere, or, he's already talking about the J6 hostages and they need to be stronger on that. It's like, what the fuck do you think that means? Right now he's riding this wave of it's looking, like they're just taking ownership of this stuff. Not that it's gonna make him that fucking popular, but, it does seem like they're a little bit more organized and there is, like, a cohesive effort between all of these guys. They're all on the same fucking team. Bezos, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, the fucking guy from Apple, Tim Cook, fucking, Rogan, Theo Vaughn is there, Logan Paul is there, Jake Paul is there, the Nelk boys are there. They're all riding in a fucking shuttle to the inauguration. Uh, they're all, in on it. They're united against the poor people. I don't know. We'll see what the fuck happens because part of the thing with Trump is like it doesn't matter at all what the fuck he says. It it's like now we're going to see things go into effect. We're going to see what policies actually get across, what they're able to achieve, and we'll react according to that. I think it is smart that people on the left aren't necessarily. I don't think people have given up. I just think we're saving our energy. It's like people should have been smarter. But who knows what to fucking believe? I mean, if Kamala would have got elected, what would the situation in Israel be right now? What would the situation in Palestine be right now? Would it be the Democrats just continuing to bomb those people? Would it be the genocide just ongoing? What would have happened to TikTok? Would if Kamala had gotten elected, would she ban it? She probably would. She didn't seem flexible or intuitive enough to even make that decision. The DNC just seemed like they were sort of hardline against it because they couldn't control the message. That's how it seemed. Like Trump does seem to be the one. Like I said, for now, because it hasn't been used against him, he thinks it's working for him. But if it's able to expose lies that he's telling, and if it's able to reveal the true narrative about what's going on, which is kind of what TikTok does, it seems, I don't know. Uh, it's a community kind of conferral app where, to be honest, it does seem like there's a lot of fucking radical for American media standards. There's a lot of pretty fucking radical shit as far as like the takes that you see and the angles on these things that are happening in real time. You're seeing fucking uh more of a Marxist point of view, more of a these TikTok comment sections are where all the people are very pro Luigi and that kind of thing. I mean, that's where I was finding out about that shit as it happened. We were watching it in New York as it fucking happened. And who knows? Maybe Trump will be some kind of like enlightened leader. That seems to be the pose And the vibe that the believers and the cult of it are riding into this, where it's like Trump is gonna go in, he's gonna dismantle, like, the military industrial complex, he's gonna dismantle, like, the war machine, no more wars, and he's gonna fucking annex Canada and Greenland, the Panama Canal. He's gonna start to charge NATO their fair share for the defense. We're sending 200 billion, blah blah blah. They need to pay their fair share. Uh Part of the frustration is like these Republicans pretend like they give a fuck about like saving money and cutting expenses, and they never do. They always explode the deficit, and they want to cut this stuff so they can give the money back to rich people, basically. That's Elon Musk has said as much. He's better at capital allocation than the government. And so it seems to me like they're trying to force TikTok to sell half to Elon Musk. Trump said it could be worth $1 trillion. Do you think TikTok is worth $1 trillion? I mean, are any of these companies worth $1 trillion? Is Apple worth $1 trillion fucking dollars? Is Tesla worth a fucking $1 trillion? I suppose it is. I mean, usually when these apps get bought, it's for like a few $1 billion, if that. It's like I think Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion. Now, granted, that was 10 years ago, but like, is TikTok really worth $1 trillion fucking dollars? It's possible. It does seem to be. And once again, I don't know. Is this a shrewd thing for Trump to do? Is it a bullying thing for Trump to do? To just be like, look, we're not going to shut this down. It could be an asset. And I think the TikTok CEO guy is just kissing his ass and doing what he has to do to stay alive and keep his company making money. He'll do, if that's all he has to do is just say, thank you, Trump, and sort of massage the guy's ego. It seems like that's what he's doing. Uh, is Elon Musk going to pay $500 billion for fucking TikTok? All they have to do is siphon some of that money through the Department of Government Efficiency. Just slash the Department of Education and just PayPal that fucking money to Elon Musk's personal fucking Swiss bank accounts or whatever the fuck he's got. Cayman Island, who knows? Mars. He's got a bank account on Mars. It's tax free. When you're the god emperor of the planet, you don't pay taxes. Doing Nazi salutes, for Christ's sake. Yikes. What a joke. Where was Hulk Hogan, man? Did they fucking throw Hulk Hogan under the bus? I didn't see any Hogan pictures at the inauguration. He was at the fucking convention. Why wasn't Hogan in the Capitol Rotunda? Where was McMahon? Well, McMahon probably can't really be a part of it. Linda McMahon, maybe. Vince, he's probably partying privately somewhere. Wearing a do-rag. So, I don't know. I mean, in certain ways, the guy is like reorienting us for a new century. This is not exactly the golden age that we had in mind. An age shaped by like these tech oligarchs with no feel, no intuition. They're just sort of like forcing our behavior patterns through their, funnels, their little app. Thank you for watching, whoever's watching out there. We're trying out here. We're trying to make it interesting. The lighting's bad. I don't know. I guess I could be more fucking. I could bring more value. That I don't know. The thing is, it's not really about bringing value. It's about like your personality. I think streaming is just like it's almost like a human fucking aquarium or something where you're just like showing people your personality. These streamers that are really popular, video games, just give them sort of like a screensaver and a plot to sort of like enact their personality in a very basic way. It's like the avatar, the character can sort of be the visual and the science fiction CGI fantasy narrative of like the adventure story that the guys want to see. But the guy's just sitting on his ass in a gaming chair with a headset on, just like you, in some ugly fucking house in like the Midwest. And that's comforting too. That they have the same kind of banal, anti-aesthetic, suburban plywood fucking reality that the rest of us have. But I don't know. I should probably start playing Grand Theft Auto or something on here. It's not so it's like I don't know. It's got to be less about like making endless good points and more just about having people enjoy the vibe. Creating a good vibe for everybody. Yeah, so next week is my birthday. Next Monday is my birthday. For anybody who's watching out there or watching in the future who may be watching, come out to the open mic, sign up early. It's going to be huge. It's my 40th birthday. Literally next Monday is my birthday. And so we want it to be huge. We want everybody to come. Everybody who I've ever known and fucked over. All the bridges that are burnt. Come on out. Everybody who I met in my 30s, if you think I hate you, just come on out. I want it to be like a class reunion of Matt Proctor. This is like the 10, 15, 20-year reunion of Matt Proctor. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. Whoever decides to come out will come out. It'll be fun either way. Like I said, I've got a lot of bad relationships. My friend told me last night that I'm the ultimate Aquarius, or like I'm the most typical Aquarius. Aquarius season just started. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I do feel that way. I don't know. Aquarius, you just kind of have to live in your own little peninsula way out there. It's like living in a lighthouse or something. It's nice to be alone out kind of on the edge of the world. Yapping endlessly, indulging your fondness for pontificating. I can't even get 6 viewers. I can't even get 7 or 8 viewers. Am I not bringing enough value? I guess I'm not convincing enough. Why am I not convincing? Why am I not an expert? Why do people on the internet not consider me an expert? What the hell am I good at? I feel like the Pat Sajak of TikTok recaps. I was watching this Glenn Gould video popped up in my TikTok about how he hates crowds and he hates playing for crowds because he thinks it represents mob mentality. He thinks anything that kind of gets popular, and that resonated with me. And maybe this is just because I'm hugely unpopular. I'm kind of famously unpopular. Infamous, or I don't know. I'm like minorly huge. In like extremely small world, I'm, like huge. No, I'm just kidding. Um, but I do kind of believe that. I do kind of agree. That's the vibe that I get when I'm doing comedy or like when you're doing something like that in front of a lot of people. Is like the way that they're reacting is like a mob. The way that they're kind of like agreeing, disagreeing, and I don't know. That's why the job of stand-up comedian kind of disturbs me in a way. There was this other video about how laughter is actually more about indicating to other people like a social comfort or something. It's not Laughter is not actually, because like they said that it's a learned behavior. Like babies and shit, a lot of times they actually won't laugh, or like they don't laugh early on in their life. It's something that they like learn to do as sort of a way of indicating that like they're socially comfortable and they are like in agreement or something. And that's kind of what I feel about like as a stand-up comedian. I don't know. Did you see Chappelle's monologue? It was the longest monologue in Saturday Night Live history. It was 17 minutes long, which is not really that long for a stand-up set, to be honest. If he's used to doing, he can go into any comedy club in the fucking universe and do as long as he wants. So I'm sure he's used to doing at least 45 minutes or something, and probably longer if he wants to. But uh it was amazing to see him. I mean, there was definitely some very homophobic, hateful jokes about West Hollywood I thought were in very bad taste. To me, what was impressive about it is, I mean, the Diddy stuff is kind of easy, all the shit about baby oil and um but you could see it's like, okay, he talked about the fires, he talked about Diddy, then boom, he knew his kind of capper was going to be this thing about Jimmy Carter and Trump. And the way he kind of kicked it in, he goes, okay, here, and he kind of like has this moment. I forget what he said, but it was like you could tell it's like he had, 14, 15 minutes of progressively funnier shit that's just kind of about like whatever, kind of light. But then it was like, okay, they brought him in to do some kind of sermonizing. He hosted right the week after Trump got elected the first time. And so now he's back right before Trump gets inaugurated the second time to kind of give the nation some kind of comedy words of wisdom. He said some nice things about Jimmy Carter, which I thought was very left wing for Chappelle, who's a transphobic, kind of hateful, homophobic. But the form of seeing how he did that was pretty amazing. And I think everybody that saw it kind of realized that. Is he kind of felt like at the very end, okay, I got to wrap this up. And he ended with this line about from whether it's the Palisades or Palestine. It was almost like some Johnny Cochran fucking line. Whether it's the Palisades or Palestine. That's why I hate poor people. You can tell he actually does hate poor people. Like that's I kind of what with these comedians, people think that they're the jester. People, that's what's so twisted about it. Is everybody has got it fucking backwards where they think that Theo Vaughn and Joe Rogan and these stand-up comedians that, that's sort of the modern day jester role. The jester is supposed to like tell truth to power, right? But that's not what these guys are doing. These guys are completely propagandists for the power and for the establishment and for the billionaires. Rogan has had Elon Musk on. Has Elon Musk been on fucking Theo Vaughn? In any case, they have these kind of alpha fucking, and Rogan, it's who is it? He has had Chappelle on. He's had Kanye on. He's had fucking David Lee Roth, Mamet. He had Trump on. He's part of the reason why Trump won, right? I wish I hadn't watched the fucking Trump Rogan podcast. The Joe Rogan, I think, is a billionaire. Chappelle, I don't know if Chappelle's a billionaire, but like he's an insanely wealthy person. He hates poor people. The thing he said about Springfield, going to Springfield, that was pretty interesting. Eating in the Somalian restaurant. It was pretty funny, but I don't know. I guess that's why Chappelle is the best, for him to be able to kind of wrap it up in that way and make it serious. He was communicating directly to Trump, asking him to have empathy. And you can see where Chappelle stands on the Israel-Palestine issue. I think that was part of the point he was trying to make. Chappelle is a Muslim. I think he is Muslim, isn't he? I'm sure that he's obviously pretty invested in that, maybe, being pro-Palestine. And so that was part of the point he was making with Jimmy Carter. We'll see what the fuck happens with Trump. Right now, everybody thinks that he's like fucking Jimmy Carter. They think he's bringing peace to the Middle East or something. And it's like, we'll see. We'll fucking see. I don't think so. I think he wants revenge for the J6 hostages. We'll see what happens. We're in God's hands now. We're in the fucking billionaires' hands. The ultimate establishment. These comedians have served as the fucking puppets and the mouthpieces. I mean, I guess they're in the king's court. So they're just, there's Logan Paul and Jake Paul, America's finest. JD Vance is the fucking vice president. We've chosen mediocrity. We've chosen like the just worst, most tacky, shittiest. It's the enshittification, right? This is word of the year. It should be for next year. The idea with enshittification, right, is that capitalism, and particularly this kind of market-driven capitalism that we have, doesn't inspire people to fucking reinvest in anything. They take that money. Okay. And make everything shitty. The architecture sucks. The building materials they use for everything sucks. Cars suck now. Look at the fucking cars they used to make. Look at the house. Look at the buildings they used to make. Look at the architecture they used to have. They used to have literature, books. People had time to read. We have enshittification. We have a bunch of digital fucking douchebags who have some kind of weird mental illness where they just want their fucking bank account to go up. They want to own every goddamn thing. They want to punish society. They want to administer pain. And so the movies suck. The music sucks. The internet sucks now. They want to just drive. Oh, here's one thing I've noticed since the enshittification began yesterday, in full force. Instagram has immediately started pushing. I'm seeing in my suggested JD Vance, Melania Trump, the White House. These are all in my suggested now. They were not I can't remember seeing Biden and fucking Kamala and Bernie Sanders on there and AOC in my fucking suggested. So is this what we're gonna supposed to expect over the next 4 years? Is they're just gonna they've bought up all of the communication channels. So all we're gonna fucking see is JD Vance shit and Trump shit and fucking and I'm gonna have to see Melania fucking Trump. Well, like they've already started to do that on X. Not that I don't use Twitter anymore, but like if you get on Twitter now, you're gonna see like Elon Musk's tweets, whether you like it or not. Even if you don't follow him, he's made it so like you're going to see his fucking tweets because he's such an insecure little bitch that he has to control what people see like he's fucking Charles Foster Kane. He thinks he can fix us and make us love him. And it's not going to work. We hate you. We'll always hate you. We hate you now more than ever. So now Meta is becoming like Twitter, where it's just like, okay, we're going to push these right-wing fuck faces into your suggested, into your feed. What you're going to see JD Vance's fucking ugly beard and mascara, whether you like it or not. Ay, ay, ay. One reason, well, okay. So that pisses me off. I mean, not that I really use those fucking apps. Pretty much YouTube's already kind of like that, where it's like it's been pretty right wing. I just use it because functionally it is the best, like, logistical kind of archive. And it's, not that my shit shows up in fucking search results or anything. Not that I really try to make it show up in search results, but I can put it out there and it's there if people want to see it. If people want to see the open mic or various readings or performances, what have you, uh, it's all on the safe. Hopefully, YouTube remains like the Switzerland of social media apps. I hope it remains like kind of a neutral zone where it's not quite as a victim of the inshitification. Where have you gone, Jack Lemmon? Jack Lemmon. He's another famous person whose name is a noun. It's an object. My theory with stage names is just pick an object. If you just pick a thing, people remember your stage name. Like Johnny Cash. Cash is like an object. Everybody knows Cash. Jack Lemmon. It kind of says something about, his sucking on a lemon kind of energy. You are a shithead, Williamson. So YouTube, YouTube is still just a right-wing cesspool, and it was a right-wing cesspool before any of them, to be honest. YouTube has been the pipeline. Rogan really bred on YouTube, I feel like. Powerful JRE. It's the fact that Rogan was a video podcast was part of the inshitification. His fucking set just looks like every fucking frat house I was in college that I hated and didn't want to be at. It looks almost like the fucking house in David Lynch in Blue Velvet. It's very like toxic, violent male energy. All these guys are into mixed martial arts and they seem like they are making some kind of calculated effort to consolidate their power and control our lives. Some people, I think there are people out there that believe it's like for the better. Like these guys are going to go in and just like change our fucking society. They're gonna reverse the New Deal. I heard that was part of Trump's fucking mission is to like just like undo the New Deal in every single way. The anti-New Deal. Hopefully we survive and I don't know. Things snap back to the left real quick. Hopefully what President Bernie Sanders 2028 at 80 fucking 6 years old. Why not? I mean, Trump's fucking almost 80. Dancing on stage with the fucking village people with a sword. I don't know. I'm trying not to get sucked into the apocalyptic theater of it all. I'm more worried. I'm more pissed off about the enshittification. You know, Trump is a lot of storm and drang. It's a lot of big hat, no cattle. It's all bark, no bite. Not that we want to give him any ideas, but the enshittification is real. It's happening all now. An iPhone. I mean, I've been trying to get a new phone. You can't get an iPhone for less than $400 or something, and that's even with exploiting workers in China. What the hell happened? Are these guys going to fix that? Is the brain trust, the $1 billion fucking brain trust? The best and the brightest includes Theo Vaughn and Kid Rock. And I mean, Nelly was pretty lit. I got to say, Nelly was pretty lit. And what is Soulja Boy doing there? I know Soulja Boy was very passionate about TikTok, but I think these guys just want to keep their money. They know they're going to pay way less in taxes. I mean, if I was Soulja Boy, I'd probably fucking care about that too. If I was as rich as fucking Soulja Boy. Yeah, I just can't have the comments section is too controversial. It's too lit. I will turn the comments on at a time that's deemed appropriate, but it just gets too fucking outrageous. I don't want any drama scaring anybody off in the comments. But yeah, I'm like Glenn Gould. I think audiences are mobs. I kind of agree. That was one of the amazing things about the open mic last night was just seeing it was cohesive and peaceful, but there was a lot of different point of views going a lot of different ways. We were lucky to not have too much toxic comedy. Peter Glissman killed. And the Buckeyes won the national championship. How about that? He'll probably go out and have sex with a 40-year-old. So I don't know. I mean, in a certain way, it's just about getting people to hear each other and find humanity in each other. I mean, I think at this point we don't have a fucking choice. It's already been set in motion. This is the way our government works. Like it's going to be 2 years really before we have any fucking choice in anything again. So we're kind of just in it for the next 2 years. And then the midterms. And 4 years is not even that fucking long. I mean, it seems like just yesterday that January 6th was happening. January 6th just feels like it was just yesterday. David Lynch was fucking doing weather reports on YouTube. I mean, talk about fucking YouTube. I mean, David Lynch was literally posting on YouTube like every day during the fucking pandemic. I subscribed to his account, David Lynch Theater. I definitely got worried when he stopped doing it. I thought about David Lynch regularly. I was like, is David Lynch okay? What's he up to? Is he working on anything? Hopefully he's healthy and He's not making weather videos, so it was nice to have a daily. That was one of the bright spots of the pandemic. Was every day you got a fucking iPhoto video from fucking David Lynch about blue skies, sunny. I was thinking about Lana Del Rey. So it was nice. We had tribute to Martin Luther King. We had Harper Bazaar. It was nice. I don't know. It's just there's so many people that come and go. People just want the stage. They just want to use the fucking stage. It's cold outside. It's really fucking cold outside. So there's like nothing to do. I mean, this is open mic fucking season. Or this is just like reading season in New York after the holidays into kind of like June. That's when really everything happens. Or like, I don't know. That's when a lot of shit. That's like the main swing of like people doing events, particularly in the winter. It's like a lot of people do book launches or this or that. I mean, fucking Saturday Night Live's 50th anniversary is in February. It's like that's the coldest fucking time of the year. And they're going to get all these people in tuxedos to fucking take limousines and shit. It's like that's New York. That's when you get shit done inside. It's like everything is so fucking cold outside that like you can really hunker down. You can live stream your ass off. You can write. You can read. Write long letters. You dig in. But you also like you go to openings. You get art openings. I went to the museum the other day. I looked at some Camille Pissarro paintings. David Lynch has a Francis Bacon thing. There's like a weird kind of like scary kind of like anatomical violence. But you trust David Lynch. His presence kind of makes it okay. The fact that this like Frisch's big boy guy directed it, like kind of makes it safe. He's tall. He's wholesome. He's protective. He's probably not a fucking womanizer. Who knows? Who knows what David Lynch's sex life was like? Does anybody know? Has there been any information about... I know he put women's underwear in his mouth. That's pretty wholesome. Oh my God. So I don't know. We were not invited to the inauguration. Well, it was 8 years ago, a couple days ago, that we went to the Women's March. For those that don't remember, who weren't following at that time, I was at the fucking Women's March, god damn it, expressing my fucking solidarity with women, with my fellow feminist Eamon. My brother was there. His girlfriend was there, Eve, amongst others. A bunch of people came from Ohio. We fucking stayed in this house, I think was it in Delaware or was it in Maryland? We drove there. Eamon drove us there. I was at work at Agenda. I watched the fucking inauguration, Trump saying American Carnage, as I'm like editing video and reading New York school shit. I think I had Ted Berrigan, Nice to See You, in my backpack because it got wet. I remember it got rained on. But I took the train to Princeton, New Jersey from Penn Station. And we drove from Princeton, New Jersey to D.C., where I'd never been. I'd never been to D.C. before. And we saw fucking all the shit, Lincoln Memorial. We saw the goddamn White House, the Capitol. We stormed the Capitol. Apparently, the J6 rioters are going to get not only pardons, but they're going to get multi-million-dollar settlements. I'm not sure about that. That's your tax dollars. I don't think they should get fucking settlements. God damn it. Give them the chair. I want justice. God damn it. For the insurrection. Once again, the Democrats just show everybody they're a bunch of wimps. We didn't do it January 6th. There was no insurrection energy at all. It's pathetic. Where was our insurrection? God damn it. We just fucking rolled over like we always do. Obama's getting a divorce, apparently. Did people hear about this? Apparently, Obama's been cheating on Michelle with some skank. Who the fuck knows what's going on there? He wants, I don't know. He's a Hollywood big shot now. Obama's life has got to have been so not what he expected it to be after his president. I feel so bad for Obama because he talks so much shit about Trump, about how Trump would never be the president. There's all these clips that have come back to haunt Obama about him talking about, I'll be the president. You'll never be the president. And now Trump has probably fucking shaped the political landscape. Like, I hate to say it. But unfortunately, the shift right. I mean, they both did their part. But Jesus Christ, I mean, I guess that was kind of the point, right? Trump was kind of running to undo fucking what Obama did. He just hated the fact that Obama had been the fucking president so much that he just wanted to undo everything that Obama did. Barack Hussein Obama. I don't know if he's done that, but we'll see how far he gets, the motherfucker. Or how chill he is. I don't know. You know, Bill Maher was saying, he's met Trump. Trump is very nice. He's fun. I don't know. Who the fuck knows? Maybe it is just a bunch of New York media assholes like fucking Kurt Anderson who hate Trump. Maybe it's just Graydon Carter. You know, maybe it is all these fucking like New York media mogul douchebags who just, I mean, not that Trump seems like a fucking cool guy. He seems, he seems like he'd be funny, but he seems kind of gross at the same time. Like, I could get how, like, if you met him, like, okay, this guy, or if you were on the fucking Celebrity Apprentice or whatever, like, Snoop Dogg had to have been on Celebrity Apprentice. I'm not sure if he was or not, but he had to have been. I mean, how could he have not been? So it's like he probably is sort of fucking friends with Trump, to be honest. He probably thinks, this guy's, a fucking pimp. He's like Iceberg Slim. Yeah, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I got 3 likes. Thank you. I mean, I'm just taking the internet by. I hate having an audience. I hate having people watch. I don't want likes. It only proves that you just are garbage if people like you. Our culture just sucks so hard. Everything is just such a fucking. I mean, watching that inauguration, it's like this is the leader of the free world. This is the highest office, and fucking Jake and Logan Paul are there as like guests of honor. Like, the meritocracy is not meritocracying. To use some brain rot slang for everybody. The math ain't mathing, people. It's rigged. It's all rigged. It's all Peter Thiel money. They bought our fucking attention. They're trying to bury me. They're shadow banning my truth. my truth bombs. They don't want people to start their own poetry magazines and open mics and write poetry and get into fucking hot sexual relationships with each other where they write poems and have sex and do drugs together. They don't want you to have that freedom. They want you to go to work in person. All federal employees must go back to in person 5 days a week or you're fucking fired. Like, why? What do you care? Elon Musk, you fucking asshole. You're harshing our vibe. We had this nice Biden post-pandemic kind of glow. The euphoria has this is like a cold shower. This winter is like it's like the ice bucket challenge on our fucking society. They just dumped a big fucking bucket of ice water on our fucking on our goddamn happiness. Not that we were that happy. We'll see what happens, you know. We'll live through it. We lived through it once, you know. At least we got a break. And who the fuck knows, you know? We still got TikTok. So we can still distract ourselves and make content for the Chinese spy app. I mean, I'm gonna start making videos on TikTok because it's back. Why the fuck not? Okay, what else? So yeah, I turned off the comments because there's just too much controversy. I know I need to turn the comments on. It will happen at some point. It's just now is not really an appropriate it's all about me. As you can see, I have such earth-shattering takes about all the hottest, most prescient current things that are happening. I'm constantly inhaling content, looking at takes, looking at vibes, studying the media, studying the memes, studying the culture, so I can bring you this kind of word salad where I give my sort of half-assed, half-baked, extremely low-fi 2012 era technology freedom fucking fighting here. This is my goddamn proton pack of truth, okay? Don't cross the streams. We're ghost busting. I don't know. What's the fucking point of any of it? We're never going to get through to anybody. We're fucking mired in personal drama and, huge ego. I pissed off everybody in New York. I mean, but this is the year we break through. We're going to go hard this fucking year. We're going to be so in person. We're going to be so live. I mean, I was inspired. I thought last night was a great work of art. I'm proud of all the people that brought their fucking beautiful art, poetry, music. We had an omnichord. We had somebody do like a fucking, it was like they have an online comic and they had like a whole cast of people. They had like a whole, it was like a radio drama. They had 7 people on the fucking stage, all reading different parts, and they got in and out of there pretty fast. I mean, it was pretty epic. Not that anybody goes back and watches that shit, but they should, because it was pretty amazing. Just as a human experience, to see that fucking scope of performance and, almost 5 hours. We started early-ish. Next week, okay, my plan for next week, it's my birthday on Monday. So I'm going to try to do an hour. I'm going to try because it's my 40th birthday, so I'm going to do a special extended set at the beginning as a present to myself. Not an hour. I'm not actually going to do an hour. I'm going to say I'm going to do an hour, but I'll probably do something like, I don't know, 25 minutes, maybe half an hour. I'll probably start at like shortly after 8 and then sometime around 8:35 or so we'll go into the actual show. But it's my birthday. I need to make it special somehow. I need to find some way to make it like, because it's my 40th. That's a lot of pressure. Not that I really want people to know that I'm that old. I think people will just be completely disgusted and stunned when they find out that I'm actually that old. It's just so pathetic that this is what I do. It's where I'm at. It's just so sad. I shouldn't say that on the internet because people will use it against me, but Chappelle said being famous was like being on storming the beach at Normandy. Like, I don't fucking think so, dude. I'm not sure about that. I think it's like storming the beach at Normandy. It's probably definitely really intense to be that famous, but let's not insult the greatest generation, okay? Tom Sizemore and Tom Hanks and Edward Burns, okay? And Giovanni Ribisi. He's in that, right? I think he is. Yeah, so I need to do something special. I don't know. It's just a lot of pressure. I've had great birthdays in my life. So you never know. You never know when it's going to pop off, when it's going to, but I'd like to have a memorable, epic style. I mean, my 30th birthday was so great. It kind of was a lot to live up to. My 30th birthday was just like a big kind of a lot of my friends were there from my time in New York. It was at the Sludge before they did the renovation. I showed my scenes from my life. I think it was the first time I ever showed anybody my vlogs. So it was kind of a big, it was like near the beginning of the Holy Smokes kind of thing. It was like one of the first times we played in the basement, maybe. So that was 10 years ago. So, it'll be special. The fact that it's on an open mic day is pretty cool. So, it'll be fun no matter what. Okay, it's been 2 hours. I just feel like I'm just being so interesting and entertaining. I'm bringing so much value. Well, I don't know. To me, the live streaming, I guess now it's more about just having it on. I could probably get just as many likes and just as many viewers if I just wasn't even like paying any attention to it and I just had it on. I mean, I literally have one person watching, 3 likes. It's like this is a lot of time and energy to have one person and 3 likes. And yet, how do we retaliate? How do we spread information rather than disinformation or misinformation or bro information? These are the info wars, people. We're fighting against the Empire. We are the Star Wars. We are the Skywalkers and the Han Solos and the Princess Leias and the Chewbacca's, whatever you're into. We are the freedom fighters. We are the Qui-Gon Jinns. We are the fucking Jake Lloyds before he went to the dark side. They're the dark side. The Elon Musks. And so knowledge is power. Providing, I don't know. The point of this is to just put some thoughts out there. If something sticks with you, that's the whole point. It's sort of like airing out the laundry, vibing. It's just a hang. This is just a hangout for my online community and my brand, my online family. Anybody who wants to check in with me. I think probably more comedians watch this than poets. The thing that frustrates me about the poets is, I don't know, they just didn't have to. It just seems like they wanna make you feel like you're, like, not cool or something, and it's like, I'm just over here doing my thing. I don't need people to tell me that, like, "Oh, we don't go to that anymore." That's not, and when you're in a word of mouth business, it's just frustrating that people are killing your business. Because that's what it boils down to for me, is like, I'm fighting for my life here. I'm trying to be, I know I haven't really expanded or anything, but I'm trying to make this like a professional thing, even though I'm not, it's kind of a joke to say that, but to some degree it's not, because I do, we are doing well, hopefully, economically with the way things are going, but it would be nice to have more nights like that. Uh, and so I just, I don't need people to make me feel like I'm fucking I'm not in. Like, oh, this is the thing that's cool and in, and oh, this is in, and this is in, and we love going to this. It's like, I don't care. I like doing well, I don't know. I think the open mic is amazing show. I mean, last night was an amazing fucking event. A lot of people brought a lot of originality and passion and sincerity. And to be honest, a lot of them are fucking talented as hell. There's a lot of fucking really talented musicians. There's almost too much of everything that you're just like, it's so fucking rich. There's so much good writing. The music hits so hard. There's bizarre stuff that happens that's super impactful. Like Alberco's fucking performance was phenomenal. Um, there's familiar faces that are there every week, and then there's people that you only see once ever. There's people, it's their first reading they've ever done ever. That's all one show. It's pretty crazy. There's recurring stories. There's fucking Ashley's back. You know, um, there's old, people that used to coming out. Uh, there's new faces. There's lifers. Everybody's always welcome. Everybody's always welcome. Okay. I mean, the thing is, I, I'm never like that. There are people that do kind of go out of their way to talk to me, and like, I definitely love all the friendships that I've made, but there's also a lot of impersonal kind of just like flattery that, like, it doesn't actually have a lot behind it, and that's kind of frustrating. People, they just want that stage, and, like, they might even like me as a person or whatever, but, uh, they come and go when they, uh, wanna get attention, and that's about the end of it, and so that's kind of frustrating. Um But once again, it's a business, and so if people wanna go up and you wanna come out and you wanna spend money, like, I will get you on. Once again, it's a constant war because I do have people signing up really late, and so those people I do have to put on late. It's not a personal thing. But if you fucking sign up the Monday of, or if you just show up, it's pretty hard for me to get you on at a reasonable time. I'll do my best, and I do try to work people in that I can, but it isn't like a personal thing, really. I'm doing my best to just be fair to everybody. And I don't play I try not to play favorites. There are certain people obviously that just like, I can't control, but for the most part, I try to keep it fair, and it's also a business. So it's about how much money people are spending, how often, if you're a regular, that means something. Like if you come out every week, you're contributing to the bottom line in a long-term way. You don't want to sell a guy one car. You sell a guy 5 cars over 10 years. There's something to be said for that, for keeping a person coming every fucking week for 2.5 years or something. And there's also people that spend more money than others. So it's like they also kind of get special treatment. The mysteries of the algorithm, everybody. It's the algorithm, okay? I'm a billionaire. I'm in the billionaire class, okay? You don't question the fucking techniques, okay, of the billionaire genetically superior elite. They know better than we do, okay? They know they're shaping the next millennium. They are, and we are going to be victims of their mistakes and their world building exercises. Highly unqualified, overconfident. All these Silicon Valley people, they've been way too fucking pampered, way too sycophanted. It's all yes, yes, yes. They don't know how much they don't know. They don't realize their own limitations. They think they're all going to go to fucking Mars. Look at Jeff Bezos' girlfriend. Like that. This is one of the richest guys in the world, and look how fucking tacky he is. Why does he drag this lady everywhere? I guess we're all victim to bad relationships at times. Even the richest of us, even the super billionaire class, the Lex Luthors. God have mercy, on our fucking souls. We'll see what happens. Let's just try to vibe it out. I mean, it's 2025, so the 2020s are technically half over. And what does that mean as we pivot towards the end of this decade? Looking forward. Holy shit. We're getting old. It's scary. But, yeah, so I'm losing viewers. Thank you guys. That's why we're on YouTube. That's where all the fucking geezers are. This is a smoke break for everybody watching at home. Okay, what else? What else is on the subjects of the era and the day? We're just going to keep going. I'm going to try to do 4 hours for all the viewers watching at home. It's probably just Ashley. Ashley's probably just got her phone on or something. It's okay. I mean, It's all the 10,000 hours, right? Have I done 10,000 hours yet? I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure I did 10,000 hours in poetry. I don't know if I've done 10,000 hours of open mics. I don't know if it all added up to 10,000 hours. I think that was a bunch of bullshit. But getting a place where you can cut your teeth and get on stage and get paid to be on stage, you can't get a better opportunity than that. In a society of enshittification where it just feels like there's less and less opportunities, period. I mean, it gets to the certain point that just like it's been hard to be optimistic or like hopeful for the last. I mean, Trump got elected almost 10 years ago the first time. So we've been living in the crater of just like Trump insanity and like this right-wing move to crypto, these tech oligarchies kind of like sewing up how we negotiate like our human relationships, business relationships through Instagram, through Facebook, Twitter. If you're a writer, you're probably on Twitter. And beyond that, I mean, Uber, fucking atomization of all that kind of shit, work, labor. Oh, man. The algorithm. I mean, but in a certain way, the biggest difference between right now and 10 years ago feels like it used to be possible to find an apartment for a reasonable amount of money 10 years ago. And now it is impossible. I mean, this is one reason why there's so many fucking incels. Because you need an apartment to have sex. Okay? You need a place where you can go and have sex. I mean, I guess you could have sex in a car. It's really hard to have a girlfriend if you don't have an apartment. If you live with your fucking parents, right? That's kind of like the classic loser. It's like you live in your that was like a classic punchline. You live in your parents' basement. You live with your fucking parents. You're a fucking nerd. It's like it's hard to have a steamy sex life in your parents' house. Just doesn't feel right somehow. You're living in sin. And so this is why the cost of living is so important. Because how else are people supposed to have sex? I read this, or there was this thing. It was a guy. He was a lawyer, and he like ran a fucking carpentry business in his part time, and he had like fucking 4 roommates in some apartment. It's like, how is it every fucking room everywhere is $1,300 now? Like that is tech oligarchy algorithm suffocation. It's something that's like arbitrarily set by by some fucking algorithm that is pushing us all to the limit of fucking human past the breaking point. We're all being pushed past like the breaking point of what we're able to handle as just like financially as people, work wise, food wise. It's the enshittification. These billionaires, they don't have any vision for like reinvestment. for the masses. Oh, God, this whole stream has probably looked like total shit. It's okay. It's part of the enshittification, okay? This includes my live streams. They're going to go down in quality. You know, what's the fucking point? It's like John Voight says in Runaway Train. Win, lose, what's the difference? It didn't seem to make any difference in my life. It's just been all enshittification. And I blame Trump, God damn it. I blame Trump for my problems. It's all his fucking fault. And that's why we tried. We tried to warn people and do BBW and didn't work. How do I dumb my product down? How do I connect with the masses? How do I tap into mob mentality? How do I harness the power of the mob, like J.D. Vance? Or fucking Russell Brand. Was Russell Brand at the inauguration? Was Andrew Dice Clay? I think I did see Tony Hinchcliffe. Tony Hinchcliffe was there with some UFC guy or something. Rogan was there. Sad, you know. Are these are the, is this the new intellectual? These are the best and the brightest? Is that Robert McNamara? Is Billy Ray Cyrus our Robert McNamara? Is fucking Kid Rock our John Kenneth Galbraith or whatever? See Adlai Stevenson? I mean, it's just I don't know. We got a lot of meatheads out there. We got a lot of violence. This is a primal country. You know, people express themselves, tribal tattoos, screaming, beating their chests, guns, flexing, getting neck tattoos, face tattoos. It's a lit ass motherfucker. And Trump is the president of this fucking crazy clown college of a country. It's crazy clown time in these United States. I totally believe that there's, you know, that many ICP fans out there that will vote for Trump. I mean, look, garbage in, garbage out, right? It's Jerry Springer, it's Sally Jesse Raphael, it's Fago, it's, I mean, even Taco Bell is expensive now. Fucking hard tacos like $3.50. It's like, what are you doing? Just rob me. Why don't you just steal my money like it's Neil Simon play? The great New York fucking artist. His plays really feel like they include the real stuff of the city, the real life of the city. I can see his characters like inhabiting a lost New York that doesn't exist anymore. But kind of does. Oh, I got to talk about The Odd Couple too. I know I teased everybody earlier about, this is BookTube, by the way. BookTube, we're always celebrating literature here on BookTube. Need some viewers for my BookTube. Yeah, The Odd Couple too. Speaking of BookTube, okay, so The Odd Couple, right? Famous, iconic, dare I use the most overused word? I think it applies. Walter Matthau, Jack Lemmon, iconic comedy duo. They're an interesting comedy duo. There aren't really that many actor teams like that. They kind of have a Laurel and Hardy thing a little bit. But I don't know. They're a little more, I don't know. There's more depth to their characterization, or it's not quite as slapstick. It's got a little bit of that. And they had this huge run of movies. I couldn't tell you why, but for some reason in the 90s, Jack Lemmon's career was very hot. And he made a bunch of fucking movies with Walter Matthau, fucking Grumpy Old Men, right? Of course, they made a couple of those. When I was a kid, they used to show this movie Out to Sea on HBO or whatever. I think one of them, Brent Spiner, was on The Daily Show promoting it. He's in it. He plays a cruise ship director. And it's Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon in the 90s. They're in their 70s. And it's fucking funny. I don't know. It was a funny fucking movie. I don't know how those guys had to come back. I guess all the World War II vets were still alive and they wanted to support their old buddies and see some delightful Jack Lemmon, Walter Matthau. I mean, Walter Matthau's stuff was pretty, in The Odd Couple too, he's pretty fucking funny, I gotta say. The script is like kind of insane. It's it's just kind of like a boring idea. It's a road movie. It's kind of like Dumb and Dumber. It's like a road movie for some stupid reason, which is not really the most interesting thing to do, but it's like, it's sort of like taking those characters and putting them in like a Bob Hope, Bing Crosby movie or something. But there's some crazy shit. Their car explodes. They get arrested a bunch of times. It's it's a pretty wild movie. It's almost like it's shot like fucking True Romance. It literally looks like Michael Bay directed it. It's like the cinematography is fucking crazy in this movie. Considering it's The Odd Couple too. I don't love that they took it out of New York. The whole thing takes place like in California. They're going to their kids are getting married. I guess that's kind of a funny idea for it. Oscar's son is marrying Felix's daughter. That's the pitch. That's in a nutshell. That's the plot. And then hijinks on the way, is sort of what the movie is, which kind of sucks. It's just like, how many fucking movies do we need about this? Like, oh, these characters trying to get somewhere, their car breaks down and they lose their luggage. It's like, how many fucking movies are about that? It's like, it's so not interesting. But that being said, it was still a funny movie. I still liked it. It's kind of mind-boggling that they even made that, like 30 years after the fucking Odd Couple. I think it's the longest distance between a sequel and the original. It's almost like Twin Peaks: The Return, except The Odd Couple. And I don't know, Neil Simon, he's just kind of pushing it to the limit in a lot of ways that are kind of fun. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed The Odd Couple too. I wanted to talk about it on here as a serious cinephile who enjoys watching Neil Simon movies. Well, I'll always have a special connection to Neil Simon because the first play I was in high school was Neil Simon's Rumors. So that was really the first like theater experience I had. And the Neil Simon thing, I don't know. Jack Lemmon's an Irish American, like he's like that generation of fucking, and so there's something about it that resonates with the Neil Simon material. Jack Lemmon was in a few different Neil Simon scripts. Prisoner of Second Avenue and The Out of Towners. I mean, Jesus Christ, you got to watch The Out of Towners. It's insane. I just don't think a movie star could you imagine Jack Lemmon like in an action movie? It's unthinkable. Like Jack Lemmon like with a gun or like with explosions. Like I think he was just he's not Paul Newman. Like he's not like a matinee. He's kind of an everyman, but I don't know. I think it reflected like gentler times. Jack Lemmon seems like a nice man. He seems like Jimmy Carter or something almost. He just seems like a pleasant guy. He's a really good pianist, actually. He plays jazz piano, and he's actually pretty good. Which doesn't surprise me. So this is my salute to Jack Lemmon. We want to pay tribute. I don't know. We're always just talking about dead people on here. Are we doing too many tributes? No. There's never enough. I mean, history is important, but I think we're very alive in the present. I mean, I think we are in touch with what's going on out there. I mean, that's one of the lucky things about doing the open mic is seeing all of these artists, seeing what they're doing, see what the writers are up to, seeing what the musicians are up to, the comedians, what have you, the clowns. the crazy clown time. And, you're lucky when you get performance art or something really original like that Alberco thing that was so New York. And he was a great storyteller. There was a lot of actually really good, impactful word choices. As a like a verbal artist, I thought that actually went really well. I thought that was as good as any kind of storytelling thing that I've seen, to be honest. And the music was super dope. The improvised soundtrack by Cherry Grove Organics. Shout out Cherry Grove Organics. Who had a great thing about improvisation and kind of woke me up. I'm always paying attention. I'm always listening to what's going on. In a weird way, I'm kind of primarily like an auditory person, even though like one of the point of doing my jobs that I like doing video is it keeps your senses sharp. Like now when I watch movies, I really can see everything on the screen and I see what they're trying to tell us with what they're what they're putting on the screen. That shit's not arbitrary. And so you can unpack the image. There's a whole grammar and a fucking you just see, when you're doing video professionally, it's like you're saying, okay, this is here, I should move this shit. And so when you're watching other people's movies, you're kind of doing the same thing. You're going, oh, okay, that looks fake, or they must have done this, or blah blah blah. And same thing with like audio stuff. Like I was thinking about it today, and you could say that I've done as much music as anything in the last decade. I've played as many fucking gigs with a band. In fact, I've probably done more of that. I mean, I've done a lot of open mics, and I've done a lot of poetry readings, and I've done a few stand-up comedy things, but the gigs and the bands were actually primarily publicly what I did, because that was just the easiest way to do shows until I started hosting the open mic, which was always the goal, to have like a weekly thing. Even with a band, it was like the goal was, it would have been the dream to have like a weekly Holy Smokes gig. If it was like every Monday night we had a Holy Smokes gig, that would have been like the dream. And so the open mic is a great way to do that, because you get to just have all these amazing artists and just bring you, it's New York, and you get cool people, you get stylish people, you get hip people, you get smart people, and you hear what the newest thing out there is, hopefully, or it's one way to stay in touch in real life, see people in person. It's almost like TikTok, though. It's fast. You can go on to the next video, the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. You never know what's going to pop up. It's the human in real life TikTok. So I don't know. Hopefully we'll have just great shows through the winter. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to, this is usually the time when it starts to get busy, because like I said, it's kind of reading season. It's cold outside. There's no options. People can't go to the beach. They're not traveling. They're in the city, but the city's all frozen up. So people want to go. They want to be with other people. And they want to be around good vibrations. And I think, I think the political thing will only bring us closer together. Before, and this is one of the reasons why I didn't, and it was a mistake. I realize that now. It's like I should have the thing is, I just didn't know how to make a flyer with both things, like it was always going to be a Martin Luther King tribute, but what I will say, like in doing this for a few years, it's like this is the third Martin Luther King Day we've done an open mic. And to be honest, a lot of these holidays, when I try to do a theme, nobody really responds. And it just feels like I'm trying to like awkwardly push something on people that they don't want to do. And so, particularly with like political stuff, or not that Martin Luther King Day is political, but like, the election was on the Tuesday. When I brought up the election, people didn't want to talk about it. The California wildfires were the week before. When I brought that up, I feel like people didn't want to talk about it. Not, and I wasn't trying to be insensitive or bring it up too much, but I do want the open mic to be a place where people can, talk or, uh, you know, share about whatever's going on, and it to be kind of a contemporary update place. Um, so it was like, uh, we've always done Martin Luther King Day open mic. Um, but I think in a way, I think it needs more now. I think everybody was sort of apathetic during the Biden era. They didn't really want to talk about politics. They didn't really want to do any, so it was sort of easy to like just sort of ignore if somebody went up and was politically incorrect or this or that. It was sort of easy to be like, okay, you know, things are chill at least, politically. Whereas now it's like I think people on the left will start to get organized again. They'll be more vigilant again. And so in a certain way that it makes it easier because that the audience wants to do stuff like that. The audience that's going to get them uh like it's been weird, but I do feel like we have gotten way bigger responses from, like somebody yelled out "Free Luigi" or something like that a couple times over the last few months, and that always gets a big response. Anything that's pretty left wing usually gets a big response. Um, which is, it's good. It's it's good to know that it's a safe space for that. Confronting, this new kind of overarching political reality where we're not in Biden's fucking little safe, you know, quiet, non-insane clown circus fucking era. Sleepy Joe. He was relatively kind of in the background doing his thing. Not really, not too in our face. There was just enough Hunter's laptop and kind of, there was just enough spice. Not too much. Like with Trump, it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Now it's just going to be all about this. These people are really going to butt into our lives. And, I think more protests and things will formulate as they go on. When Trump got elected the first time, I mean, people came out of the fucking gates protesting every fucking thing. And I think it was good. It was good to show that. And to be out in public and to show the numbers and to show the resistance and to wear the hats and everything. This time, I think we're like I said, we're saving our energy. We're biding our time a little bit. We're going to wait until, well, I mean, they're already in. People sat on their hands enough to let them in because I think they were just cynical about the system. They thought, well, the Democrats are the war hawk genocide, so fuck them. And where do we turn? We got nowhere to turn to. We're just in for the fucking fun house now. And hopefully hopefully they do have good intentions and they do fix things and make things cheaper and more equitable and more functional. I really don't see any of these people having sense to do that. Nothing they've done has indicated that they have sense to do that, or even that that's in their interest. I don't think Elon Musk is going to like solve the housing crisis or the fucking like energy crisis or the fucking like transportation crisis. He's got some dumb ideas probably about what should be done, and they'll probably get instituted at huge expense, and they probably won't work, and they'll sort of just live in our society sort of half abandoned, like that fucking tunnel or whatever under Las Vegas. He'll probably get a bunch of shit like that. They'll probably let Elon Musk build a bunch of shit that doesn't work. But Bob Dylan joined fucking TikTok 4 days before it got banned. So who knows? It might not be going anywhere. What else? I mean, it's just like we always do. We're just kind of analyzing and classifying the dystopia, cataloging the dystopia here. Or just, I don't know, kind of cheap track. I mean, the thing is, when I started doing this, Trump was the president. When I started doing these live streams like this, it was fucking 2020 before Biden won. So part of the point of doing it was to be just sort of like a fucking tactical. It was like tactical warfare. Like we're analyzing every fucking move. We're dissecting it. What does it mean? Where is this taking us as a society? It's getting darker. Are we overreacting? You know, on the whole, is Trump really like this dark ill on our fucking democracy, like the decaying legacy media wants us to believe for some reason? Or is he mostly just incompetent and kind of like a jump scare? Oh, here's one thing. I mean, if the Republicans, their fucking excuse for everything is now, we just want to throw it back to the states. Like with abortion or anything, it's like, well, we just don't want to be federal. We want to throw it back to the states. Department of Education, it should put it back to the states. That's their fucking, you know, it's once again, it's the narrative that like the federal government sucks. It's wasteful. Little governments, you know, give it back to the states. States' rights. The South loves that. You know, these states that are pieces of shit that the blue states pay for. And then the other thing is Trump's diplomacy. He always says, you know, people have this idea that Trump is like, you know, this strong man. They're all shitting their pants. So that's why they did the ceasefire, and Putin is this war in Ukraine is going to be over because fucking Trump is, it's going to be interesting. Let's just say that. It's about to get a lot more interesting. It was easy for them to play, you know, like US is the bad guy when it's Biden versus Putin. We'll see what happens now that it's Trump in the fucking driver's seat with Ukraine. What the fuck is going to happen there? Who knows? That could be over pretty quickly if they're just going to surrender everything. Because Trump pulls out the money or the aid or whatever. Who the hell knows? But every time that they talk to him about one of these situations. He always says kind of the same thing. And this is like his diplomacy with everything. He's like, I said, Vlad, don't do it. Don't do it. I said, BB, I said, no, you can't do it. I told him, no, you can't do it. No, BB, no, what are you doing? This is like, oh, we'll have this solved in 24 hours. How are you going to solve this? Oh, I'm going to call him and call him. I'll kill him. I'll get the one part and I'll say, Vlad, you can't do it. You can't do it. I'm sorry. You can't do it. That's Trump's diplomacy with everything. I called Kim Jong-il. I said, you can't do it. I said, no, you can't do it. I called BB. I said, no, you can't. You can't do it. Don't do it. You can't do it, BB. No, no, you can't. That's Trump's foreign policy. He calls people and he goes, no, you can't do it. I said, China. No, you can't do it. No, no. China, no. You can't do it. Panama, you can't do it. No. I called him. I said, no, you can't do it. They're taking our money. We gave it to Panama, Jimmy Carter, and they gave it to China. I said, you can't do it. BB, no, you can't do it. I said, Hamas, no. What are you doing? You can't do it. No. Okay, I don't know. I guess I'll do 3 hours since I'm just killing so hard. No one will ever watch this. They'll see that I got 3 likes. There's some funny shit in here. I don't know. There's some insightful shit. You know, it can't all be fucking. It's pearls before swine. Contempt for the audience. That's what killed Dennis A. I mean, my visual, I guess, hasn't been great this stream. It's been kind of maybe unwatchable. I don't know. Hopefully the audio is good. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? I hope it's on. Or is it this? No, it's not. It's got to be this. My USB. My professional. It's my Hassan Piker level equipment. I said, you can't do it, baby. No. Don't do it. I said, no, you can't do it. I don't know. We'll find out, man. We're going to find out. I think Americans just want a movie. They just want some big, exciting, Fast and the Furious, fucking big titty, fucking big music, big explosion, big attitude. I don't know. Who knows? You know, the people who are believers think Trump has got this kind of like intuition and he's on to something and they're in position to reshape, and we got to tell them no, they can't do it. BB, no, you can't do it. You can't do it. We said no. They tried to build the wall. We said you can't do it. Okay, I don't know. Trying to make that happen. I'll do 3 hours. I got 3 people watching. I can't fuck this up. Oh my God. Please. Please don't tune out. Oh my God. I don't know what I'll do. Okay, what else the hell did I need to talk about in the news cycle? Are they going to cancel the Academy Awards? I'm dying to find out what's going to go on with Timothée Chalamet. Did they announce the nominees yet? What else is going on? Yeah, so come to the open mic on Monday. It's my birthday, everybody. It's my birthday next Monday. You don't want to miss that. Biggest open mic ever. This is the open mic to end all open mics. This is the big open mic bash. So come on out and we are going to fucking party. Maybe I'll drink. I'll have some alcohol on Monday so I can really party hard with people. But everyone is welcome, including my enemies. I don't know. I'm in Aquarius. It's very easy for me to, distance myself and just kind of, I don't know. I like being alone. I don't know. I like writing poetry in my diary, as people know. It's just what I like to do. I like to walk around meditating and looking at things, listening. Yeah, so playing music, right? I was talking about that earlier. How most of the last 10 years I've been playing music and even reading poetry and going to poetry readings, right? Or lectures or whatever it is, having fucking podcasts on. But really poetry readings, going to poetry readings all the time, you're really honing in on specificities of language, very high definition kind of consciousness. And I think as an artist, you're always trying to push through to those deeper truths. So it helps to hear people on those frequencies digging from those well springs, but it also hones your senses, I think. So you get better at listening. So I think this is one of the reasons why I have trouble sleeping, because I'm just constantly listening, fucking listening, And the open mic, I'm always listening, to what people are doing. And even when you're not watching or you're fucking with the iPad or whatever it is, changing the levels, you're still listening. Your ears see in 360 degrees, right? Acoustical space is quite fictional. The acoustical space is kind of everywhere. It's not like visual where it's like bifocal and you hear sound from every direction. So you can be walking around the room and you're still able to like track in. And I think we do live in kind of a weird golden era of listening. These podcasts, people are listening. I don't think it's doing any good. They're listening to the dumbest shit. It's just reinforcing their own stupid opinions. Rogan, Jordan Peterson, Russell Brand, all these fucking tool bags. We're leftists, goddammit. This is Radio Free Midwood. Listen to poetry. Listen to the poets, man. Go to poetry readings. We got to keep these fucking readings alive, That's what I see in the fucking new era. These readings are more important than ever. And, poetry readings are the oldest thing there is. Literally. It's the oldest thing people do is sit around a fucking fireplace together, reading their psychedelic poetry, recounting their experiences through melodic language, colloquial song. It's the oldest thing human beings do. We walk around and we romanticize our fucking experience. I lift my voice in song. I lift my voice in song. And it feels pretty goddamn good, I have to say. It's a nice thing to do with your life. That's why I live stream. This is my way of colloquializing my... Not that anybody gives a fuck. Fuck the audience. Fuck you for watching this. You hear me? Whoever's watching this, go fuck yourself. Just kidding. We love you. Please don't leave. If you leave, then I'll just be literally by myself doing this. And no one will ever see it, like a tree that falls in the woods. I believe this is like playing the lottery. I'm naive enough to believe that if I keep live streaming, someday I'm just going to hit the fucking jackpot. Someday people are going to fall in love with my personality on the internet, and I can monetize it and exploit my soul for cash. Tim Dillon apparently has 4 houses. I mean, come on. Tim Dillon has 4 houses. And his sunglasses cost $100,000. How many houses does Bill Maher have? The house that Club Random built. So this is my Club Random. I'm the millennial Bill Maher. Yeah, come on out to my birthday. It's going to be the biggest open mic of all time. Everybody's going to be there. Jim Belushi is going to be there. I've been told Jim Belushi is going to make a personal appearance. Who else? All of my giant poetry friends will be there. All my huge big shot poetry friends. I actually don't have any big shot poetry friends. They all hate me. All of the greatest poets in the English language hate my guts. Or I don't know if they hate my guts, but they just kind of think I'm a little weirdo or something. I'm a creep. I'm the creep of... I don't want to be. I just love poetry too much. I take it too seriously. The deep listening. The hotness of the deep listening. This Toni Morrison video popped up where she's talking about, a lot of people complain they didn't choose to be born. And she's like, well, I think you do, or you do choose to be born. You choose to be born because you want to come here. You have a mission, blah, 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 that type of thing. And you know what? I had a poem where I have a line about being born as non-consensual, which I thought was so clever. But I think Toni Morrison is right. I think that's what the great writers do, is they hit those soul kind of deeper floors of truth. They just break through to like the really innermost kind of sacred thoughts. And I think that is true. I think we do choose to be born. I think we choose to fucking come here to be a part of the armies of whatever, darkness and light or whatever it is, just representing one side of the prism of Godhead, which is sort of I think every consciousness put together. It's like that's what AI will be. Just every consciousness like simultaneously synthesizing some kind of new model of reality, what's really there. Right now we've got all these that's the thing about this quantum computing, is it can do all this shit at the same time. Whereas, right now it's like it has to go through every possible one at a time. But it can do that faster and faster, but it still is doing it linear, like one at a time. Whereas like quantum computing can do all of the solutions at once. And so it's just way faster. So the idea of being able to like posit all points of view into one kind of more, I don't know, like panoptical kind of myriad, the great panoply of the whole night world of the thing, as Gene Shepherd would say, and the night people, Excelsior, night people. Yeah, it's fucking 9 degrees outside. How's there nobody watching? You seriously have something better to do than this? I guess I gotta get back on TikTok. They unbanned TikTok, so I gotta figure out some way to make TikTok videos. My first level will always be live streaming. My grandchildren, someday my great-grandchildren will talk about how their great-grandfather was a pioneer of live stream poetry and vlogging poetics. He was a cabaret visionary. So it's my big 40th birthday, everybody. I'm middle-aged. I'm entering the dark wood. Or what's the Dante line? The beginning of the Inferno starts with something about how he's middle-aged. Over the hill. I remember my mom's husband's 40th birthday at Gulfview Woods. People buy you a hat that says over the hill when you're 40. That's what I want for my 40th birthday. A tank top that says over the hill. I don't know. It's been hard the last decade, because in a certain way, you have to limit yourself because you're a white male. For me, it's like you feel like you deserve less. You can't have too much fun or success or happiness. You have to be in some kind of like Catholic guilt, self-flagellation, endless self-loathing, endless retribution for the sins of the father, the white people that stole this land. We're just the out-of-towners, okay? That's all we are, is the fucking out-of-towners. I mean, I'm not saying Neil Simon is on the level of those other writers, but why not? Who the fuck cares? I mean, Neil Simon, I mean, he's not necessarily doing what Tony Kushner is doing. But I think his stuff really, if you want to read about New York in a certain, I don't know, I guess it's a certain kind of romanticized New York, that kind of mid 20th century Broadway, Laughter on the 23rd Floor, the magic of Neil Simon, Barefoot in the Park, everybody. And it's kind of, I don't know, it has that kind of kitschy, ironic value that I love so much. I can't just love anything purely. It has to be like some kind of stupid joke like Jim Belushi. Neil Simon, everybody. I mean, the guy's got a lot of fucking plays. And he paints a lot of New York from a lot of different, the Village, the Brighton Beach, the Upper West Side, the Upper East Side, Central Park. Second Avenue. The Out of Towners remake has some shots of the Second Avenue Deli, which I think was across from St. Mark's Church. It's where that Chase Bank is now. That Chase Bank with the blue awning. I think it's the same awning that was on the Second Avenue Deli, which I guess was like a famous, kind of cheap, delicious Jewish restaurant that was there like forever. It was there probably from like the Yiddish theater days. I don't know exactly how long. I think it moved. I think it actually still exists in some kind of, it's in Vegas. All these fucking places have like franchises in Vegas. Like the Comedy Cellar has like a fucking franchise in Vegas. Or like CBGB's is like in Vegas. I think the Second Avenue Deli, there's one like in Murray Hill or something. But it's also in the Out of Towners with Steve Martin. A completely unnecessary remake. It's more just about like being middle-aged. It's more about being an empty nester. They should have called it The Empty Nesters. Because that's really what it's about. It's like their kids graduate and go college or whatever the fuck. And it's like they don't know what to do. So they end up moving to New York. To like, have some kind of second life, where he's like killing in his job and shit. Steve Martin killing in his job. The boomers just get to have their cake and eat it too. The rest of us fall victim to inshitification. David Lynch is dead. Who's going to replace David Lynch? When are they going to give us a chance? When are they going to give a millennial a chance who's not some right-wing fucking shill? This is one of the reasons why art has suffered in our, it's not that the left wing isn't cool. It's that they're suppressed by the fucking algorithm. The right wing wants right-wing points of view to succeed. That's how they build up this manosphere of opinion and public shaping. They've got unprecedented powers to shape the ways that we think now, particularly with TikTok. I mean, TikTok, they can really get in there and fine-tune your point of view. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I was such a class warrior that one week, because I was so pissed from just being, radicalized by fucking TikTok videos. I'd been doom scrolling for like a week while I was sick. So I'm just like, everything sucks. We're fucked. There's no hope. I should have just kept live streaming. You just got to stay working, That's one of the things David Lynch talks about, is just stay working. Don't worry about the world going by. Don't worry so much about the news. My strategy the first time Trump was president was just like party, stay high, grow my hair out, play fucking radical free jazz, explode the paradigm like bats for pull chains or whatever the fucking Lost Highway, like Bill Pullman in Lost Highway, where he's playing like noise saxophone. That's what I did the first time Trump was president. I mean, I feel like I have to rewatch every David Lynch movie now. Is that an excuse? Is that what I have instead of a personality is just talking about David Lynch movies? It's my one, like, overlap with cool people. It's the one thing I have in common with people who are actually cool. With, like, arty people. Oh, I'll never make it. I mean, I don't know. What am I going to do? I'm 40 years old. I'm hitting the midpoint in my life. I guess I'll just be, an MC for the rest of my life, if I'm lucky. I'll be groveling, begging for, like, poetry spots. I'll be paying to do stand-up comedy open mics. That's the thing that about the stand-up comedy stuff is it's like, really, you're going to pay $5 every time you do this? It's kind of a scam, to be honest. That is a class issue right there. It's like if you're a poor person, you're kind of automatically out. You can't afford five fucking dollars every time you want to go on stage. I know that sounds ironic coming from Mr. Two Drink Minimum, but workers of the world, All right, well, maybe I'll do 4 hours, you bastards. I'm going to keep streaming till people like it. We're woodshedding. How long have we been in the woodshed? I've been in the woodshed, I feel like, well, I don't know. It's been about 10 years, I guess. They say it takes over 10 years. So, I can't be that impatient. It's not, I mean, it feels like I've been working forever, but my efforts and my opportunities really only concentrated about 10 years ago. Thanks to transcendental meditation, among other things. Having a little bit more self-discipline. But, yeah, it takes over 10 years. So, we're right on schedule. We're almost there. Just got to keep pushing. Keep streaming. Keep fucking yapping. Keep fucking writing poetry. I thought my poem to David Lynch was pretty good, actually. I was originally going to do Candy Colored Clown at the beginning, but after I did my intro and the poem, I felt it didn't feel right to do the Candy Colored Clown thing. It felt like more of an end of show thing. And to be honest, it was kind of the perfect. I've done Candy Colored Clown at the open mic before. I think 2 years ago. Are we running out of ideas? We're repeating ourselves. I mean, David Lynch is just too big of and Bob Uecker and Martin Luther King, for that matter. They're just too big of world souls to not pay deep tribute to and to live in their example, especially in this dark time, to remember the light and examples of, like, good people, good role models. David Lynch lives with us now as a vibe. His art will be with us for a long time. He kind of takes the most stylish aspects of, like, Hitchcock, the colors, the kind of old-fashioned glamour, the cinema scope, the Hollywood, the clothes, the women, the leading men, the emotion, of those just kind of moments of people staring at each other and breathing deep, those kind of deep feelings, just letting them be and showing them on film. All right, what else? Should I look at my poetry real fast? Should we read a poem for everybody? I mean, I think I read my shit. Like I said, I encourage people to check out the open mic yesterday. The Bardo, Lynch is in the Bardo. I was reading a Wikipedia article about the Bardo. It was pretty fascinating. The Buddhists really have it mapped out about all the different stages, about what like your soul goes through and stuff. That was one reason why I thought it was important to do like a tribute, right? I think I read about that in John Giorno's book. He would have like monks come to his apartment every year, his loft on the Bowery. He would have like 100 monks come every January. I don't know. It corresponded with some kind of Tibetan thing. And I mean, speaking of meditation, John Giorno in the bunker. And he would have these monks come and like do this ritual that lasts all day, and it kind of bless the space and this and that. And I think when he has a poem about when William Burroughs died, it's probably on YouTube, John Giorno, when William Burroughs died, and he talks about how that's what I want for my birthday. I want Subduing Demons in America, the John Giorno selected. Or if I don't know if they're coming out with the collected or what the deal is now that there's kind of renewed interest in John Giorno. But that poem about what he like, he goes through these Buddhist kind of things with the body. After you die, there's certain things that like you can ritually do to kind of guide the soul to like, I don't know, the best possible kind of journey after death, right? I think it probably helps. I didn't look at it too hard, but too specifically, but the Buddhist thing, it had the whole thing mapped out. It might be help to know when you die, what the right choices to make are, what doors you're supposed to go through. But with David Lynch being a practitioner of meditation, it felt like important to have a kind of a group meditation and a group ritual to kind of like, I don't know, help the guy's soul on its way, and just sort of wave goodbye as he's flying overhead off to heaven where everything is fine. Okay, what else is new, everybody? I mean, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. We're just yapping. What is there to no, not that. God. Yeah, so we're in a whole new political paradigm, a whole new political reality. We'll be milking it for content, obviously, as the hack citizen journos that we are. It's our duty. It's our duty to slug it out here in the info wars, and doing it publicly, feeding it into the giant servers across the web for anybody to see. This is open source. This is free for the time being. We'll be doing it as long as it is. As long as we can get on this motherfucker and just rant. We can't pass that opportunity up. I mean, thank God for giving us these podcast microphones and these open channels to just embarrass ourselves and give just like the most asinine, stupid takes. And we get to pretend that we're like fucking Che Guevara or something. fighting the info wars, everybody. These are guerrilla. I mean, start small, but we're kindling the fire. A little bit. So this guy at the open mic told me I reminded him of Marin last night. Mark Marin, shout out, my man. He told me I forget how Marin came up. We were talking about what was some David Lynch thing. Was I listening to David Lynch on Marin? Who was I listening to on Marin that I brought up? I don't think David Lynch was on Marin, was he? Who the hell knows? But this guy was telling me I reminded him of Mark Marin. So I don't know if that's, the thing about Mark Marin that's crazy to me is how long he's actually been kind of relevant. Like he was buddies with Sam Kinison in the 80s. He was the door guy at the Comedy Store. And then, he was on Comedy Central and shit. Like basically when it started, he was hosting shows. He had fucking specials and shit, throughout the 90s. Like Marin has been somehow, I don't know. Is he that good? Is he that interesting? I don't know. How do I get to Marin level? Well, I saw Marin in an airport actually. When I started doing Scenes from My Life, actually, the LA episode is one of the earliest episodes. It's August 2014. I was still 29 years old, about to be 40. So it was 10 years ago. And we used to fly out of Burbank, Bob Hope. That was like our secret about LA. It was, you flying to Burbank. It's cheaper, like it's easier to get in and out, and you get to say you're flying into Bob Hope. So I would always fly into Bob Hope. Every time I would go into LA, I fly into Bob Hope. And so I was leaving from Bob Hope, and I was in Bob Hope, and there's fucking Mark Marin. He's sitting on and this was right around the beginning of Scenes from a Life. And so I thought, what I'm doing is like very similar to Marin. Because my friend Jenna, I think, was into Marin. Like women have a thing for Mark Marin. They have a thing for his like confessional, fucked up, like therapy. I don't know why I don't know why I'm not Mark Marin. I don't know why all these women are like obsessed with Mark Marin and he's on like Glow. He's got his own fucking show. And I'm like a total loser. But somehow what Mark Maron does really works for people. And I'm nobody. But anyway, so I see Mark Maron in Burbank Airport. It's a small airport, and there's nobody in the place except Mark Maron. And he's sitting on a bench and he's kind of looking around like he's open and he's looking around like he wants to talk or something. He's looking around like very curious and like very alive seeming. And I thought to myself, like, I could talk to Marin. I'll bet Marin would love me. I'll bet he'd love my show. Like, if I tell him about Scenes from a Life, he'll think it's really interesting. It's this public access thing. And I got to get Mark Marin to like mention me on What the Fuck podcast or like help me out in show business. This is every time I see a celebrity, this is what I think. I think, maybe they'll give me a career. You see Francis Ford Coppola on the street. I'm like, Francis Ford Coppola, he's like gonna save my life by giving me a job and making me famous. Mark Maron, if Mark Maron mentions me on What the Fuck, then like people will start watching. But I didn't talk to Mark Maron. Like every time I see a celebrity, I didn't say anything to Mark Maron. I just left him alone. From what I understand, that's what celebrities prefer. They prefer to be left alone. I'm not exactly sure what Mark Maron's policy is. Like I said, he looked open to talking. He looked like he would have loved to hear about my fucking vlog, actually. And I do feel like it was a missed opportunity in my life that I didn't say anything to Mark Maron. But maybe that was just a harbinger on the beginning of my long road to the top, is running into these type of figures along the way and be like, that's Maron. I must be going the right track. If I'm seeing, I don't know. If I was a really important person, I would have been, entwined with these people. I would have been like involved with them or they would know who I am, like Logan Paul. But instead, I'm just a guy that sees them in airports and does the right thing and leaves them alone, lets them have their peace of mind. I mean, I'm not like a huge Marin fan. He's okay. I'm not like these women who are obsessed with Marin and how he's fucked up and shit. I watched his special. I mean, he's really been through a lot, in the last few years. So, I mean, it really sucks what happened to Marin and his was it his wife or so. I mean, I can't imagine, but poor guy. So, I mean, I feel for I don't mean to make fun of him or anything. But, I mean, at that time, he was on top of the world. It was kinda crazy, to be honest. It was kind of fucking crazy how big Mark Maron was. That's my point. That's why I'm talking about this. It's like Mark Maron, I guess I do like the guy because he is sort of like an intellectual in the public sphere he's sort of like the closest thing in a certain way to, like, some kind of 50s Gene Shepherd or whatever beatnik type guy, Lenny Bruce or something. I mean, he's not that hip, but like he's sort of in that bracket. He's pretty smart and everybody goes on his fucking show. I mean, it's crazy. His guest list is absolutely fucking that's part of why it's so big, I think, and why he's so big. It's like he literally interviews fucking everybody, Keith Richards, fucking Obama, whatever. Has he interviewed Trump? Has Marin been on Rogan? Do they like each other? Where does Marin, what's his place in the manosphere? How come Marin doesn't have a fucking live stream or some kind of weekly? I mean, I guess that's what the fuck is, but that's not a video. Why doesn't he do a video podcast? Where's Marin's fucking YouTube fucking? I guess he's got Netflix deals and shit. He's actually like an A-list celebrity. He's not like a loser, like, people on fucking like Theo Vaughn or whatever. Well, that's part of the war is like the YouTube people get to feel like they're revolutionaries and they're like pirates and shit because they're not the establishment. They're not Netflix. They're not Hollywood studios. They were probably rejected by those people, actually. Like Trump. Maybe I'll get off at 3.5 hours. It's getting kind of late. Thank you guys for watching. That's the question I posed to you. How is Marin so famous? I don't know. I guess I'm just becoming middle-aged, bitter loser. What am I going to do? What am I going to do as a middle-aged, failed everything? It's going to be rough. We're going to have to figure out how to make this work. Like I said, it's been 10 years, so I think, a breakthrough is really right around the corner. Maybe that's naive, maybe that's insane, but it takes time to work that energy and to get things moving and pay all your fucking karmic dues. Lord knows that's been a real fucking bitch for the last decade. Whatever that means. Just stupid self inhibition, I don't know. But hey, we made it this far. It's a privilege to even be this old. I'm glad that planet Earth has survived this long, in the shadow of the specter of nuclear war or, living post 9/11, war on terror, Bush, fucking endless fucking combat has been grim and, we had a good time to the best of our ability in spite of the buzzkill of, the war on terror and all that. The new crusades. But we're still partying, still having a good time, still reading our fucking poetry, writing our dicks off, reading our dicks off, doing it 100% passion, with intention, to the metal, with sincerity, believing in the dream of show business. Believing one day all your dreams will come true. You will make it. You will be in demand. People will be calling you. People will want you. You'll be making money. You'll be in the spotlight. You'll be the center of attention for a little while for the culture. You know, it doesn't seem like it would be that hard with how bad things are, but show business feels like it's become this weird luxury product or something for people that want to buy their way into it. And the rest of us are like tattered paupers rolling in the mud like Monty Python, like the serfs in Monty Python. I'm 37. I'm not old. When our narco sinucus commune. Yeah, well, I don't know. Thanks for watching, everybody. I know this is super entertaining. That's why I can hold my viewers. That's why I get big ratings. You know who gets big ratings? Trump. Okay? He's good with the mob. That's what his rallies are all about. And maybe these fucking podcasting assholes are too. Maybe the Theo Vaughns and the Joe Rogans, they're good at talking to the mob. I don't know. Is it the Roman salute? You know, I mean, if you want to be a fascist, it's not hard to get crowds together. Poetry has very little audience. It's very unpopular. It's very idiosyncratic. It's very individualized. It's like grains of sand. And the people that write it are very powerful in the way that they see and experience and write it all down and read it and commune with each other. And so keeping that alive is the most important thing. You guys all know that. Anybody who's watching this, not that anybody's going to watch this in the future, but happy Aquarius season, everybody. Come to my birthday on Monday. DM me to sign up, but don't be an asshole about it. Ay, ay, ay. Onward and upward with the arts, you know. The never-ending tour goes on. It's just you keep doing shows. You're heading for another joint. Keep preaching. Keep meditating. Transcendental meditation. Transcendental meditation. They all did it. Allen Ginsberg, Jack Kerouac. I got to get some of the Dharma out now that I'm, you know, that is something that a lot of these American artists had in common, right? It's like interest in Zen, interest in meditation. D.T. Suzuki, J.D. Salinger, right? Even is really into that stuff. The Glass family is all about Zen and shit. The Beatles, Allen Ginsberg, Kerouac. What was Frank O'Hara's meditation attitude? Meditation's an emergency, I guess. On the go. Meditation's on the go. And that's kind of, you know, we're living in a meditation. New York City is like a big swirl of meditation. And these open mics are group meditations, group listening, group speech, enunciating, sharing, crosswinds, trade winds, cultural exchange, trading post, stock exchange, Wall Street of word of mouth, Wall Street of poetry, trading. This is the trading floor. I gotta have my AI stock trading fucking. I have to have that ready to go and fucking doing all my transactions instantaneously according to whatever the market is doing. If AI is just doing all the trading, I mean, Jesus Christ, that could get real weird real quick. It's all fake. It's all bullshit. All right. Well, thank you for watching. I know I'm talking out of my ass. I'm no expert. There's no substance or confidence. I use too many verbal, too many pause gap, verbal detritus language. Trying to sound smart, trying to fix the world's problems. One open mic at a time. So far so good. We went head to head with the inauguration with the national football or the championship with a lot, and we did well. So I think we're going strong. Nothing's going to stop us. We're just going to, this is only going to give us more power, more solidarity, more energy. The Biden years have been kind of sleepy and unfocused. And so I think going forward, getting older, it's about being strong, being healthy, balancing, getting back to, meditation, things like that. And I don't know. We'll see. Living hard, living strong, living out there, demonstrating our souls in a fierce way, showing out, letting the spirit ride, letting the poetry get deeper, more truthful, saying what needs to be said, not being so hamstrung by worrying that you're not going to say the right thing or whatever. Just getting out what needs to be said, speaking the truth. I don't know, going as deep as you can, and being there for people, being there for each other. These open mics. Now that we have this community and this kind of infrastructure of the comedy's hooked to the poetry, he's hooked to the music, he's hooked to the theater, performance art, clown, etc. Keeping those worlds, in solidarity and supporting each other, giving people a place to go, to be with each other, and make friends, talk, fall in love, have sex, get drunk, talk about the world, share your art, write together, make art together, make magazines, make events, make memories, keep yawping, keep yowling, keep yammering, caterwaul everybody, and just being good neighbors. All right, thank you for watching. Have a beautiful evening. We love you. We'll probably be back on, I don't know, if not tomorrow, then Thursday. It's freezing, so we're here to keep you warm and informed. From the Palisades to Palestine, everybody. Thank you for watching. Good night. We love you. God bless. Good luck. And golden energy, everybody. Golden energy. Fun. Just find somebody and just pleasure principle it out. Do psychedelics and make love, and that's that, and listen to good music and write poetry and make it sound good. Just everything sound good vibrations, good feelings, centered, and giving, giving, giving.